That's why I resent it because I thought I sent you the wrong one.
Oh, no, I used the original one, so all good.
Tyler Hansen.
What's up, my friend?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I saw this crazy thing yesterday. I can't believe I didn't think about telling you this until just now. I was out with the boys walking on. I'm in Newport Beach. I'm not at home. It's about like 300 miles south of Santa Cruz. And I was walking. There was this guy with these two dogs, and I'd never seen dogs that looked like this before. They looked like Chihuahuas, but they were kind of like stout and buff. And I squat down and I'm looking at the guy. A ton of rich people around here, right? Like everyone's like filthy rich. Like you can clearly tell. Everyone's like beautiful and got augmented shit all over them and Bentleys. And so I bend down and the dogs look identical, except one's probably like 18 pounds and one's like 14 pounds, right? One's a little small. And I'm petting the dogs. And I'm like, hey, what kind of dogs are these? And he tells me it's a Chihuahua something mix. I'm like, oh, where'd you get him? He goes, I cloned them. I go, you cloned them? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, I had this rescue and I love this rescue. And this rescue, I used to run with it 15 miles every single day. And so I cloned him when he died because I wanted to keep my running partner. And I go, you cloned two of them? He goes, well, I cloned one and we ended up getting two. And I said, how much did that cost?
$60,000.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. How did you know that?
I've done a lot of clone videos.
Oh, have you? Okay. 60 grand. But he got a two for, he said, you don't always get two. He said they got two and I just kept both. But then I was just thinking about, wow, how apropos that is for this video today. Having you on, because I have tons of questions about, like, whenever you're saying these two people are the same people, I'm like, how the hell do they switch back and forth so quickly, like with the face tattoos?
I would love to know, and I'd love to talk about it. I don't have all the answers, but I think I figured out a lot of things that a lot of people haven't. But I don't. By no means do I know it all. That's for sure.
Yeah. Hey, but before we start, I was thinking this was a topic on yesterday's show too. It was trippy because, some people are offended by things that like would never even pop on my radar, and to be offended by.
Yeah, right.
And like, I could think of an example. Like if someone said, "Hey, you had a big nose," like when I was 16, I went home and cried, and like today I'd be like, "Hey, great observation." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just like nothing. And we all, I guess, go through this in life. Why are people so freaked out? I saw that you had your TikTok account. You had 1 million viewers, followers, and then it was gone. Like, what do you? I can't for the life of me think of anything you're doing that's even remotely offensive or wrong.
I don't think I'm offending people. I think, I think when people lose their accounts, it's because they're putting out too much truth. And, I'd been... The first time I ever lost my account on TikTok was like probably the second week I was posting on things, and I saw a picture or video or something, and I don't know how. Do I need to worry about censorship at all on this? Like even talking about things like
no, I don't have any strikes, so if I get a strike, it would just be one.
Well, I don't want to get your account in trouble or anything, so I'll try to be discreet because it's a topic that is definitely censored, but
Is it in Israel? Like a lot of people think, is it around Israel? A lot of people think like say Israel and shit like that. Oh, okay.
More like school shootings, Sandy, Captain. You know what I'm talking about. So I saw a video how one of the kids from Sandy Hook was alive, and he was actually the kid from the Kenosha riots, Kyle Rittenhouse. I'm sure you know who Kyle Rittenhouse is.
Yep.
So the very first time I was like, okay, they look so much alike. And, this was before I knew the full extent of my facial recognition abilities. But I'm like, yeah, I see it. But I don't want to just like speculate on this. How can I prove this? And I spent 20 years as a weightlifting and a powerlifting and a shot put and a discus coach. And I used to meticulously break down videos. And like my wife would yell at me. She'd be like, you're still watching that girl throw discus for the 1,000th time? I'm like, yeah. So I would, meticulously watch videos, see how I could get someone to strike their heel a little differently in a clean or whatever. So it just came naturally to me to look up Kyle Rittenhouse, and Noah Posner was his name, and see like what I could do, spending time looking at the pictures meticulously, and found some very exact facial markings, like scars, markings. I don't think it was scars at the time. I think it was, for them, it was the exact birthmarks. The teeth looked the same. And I posted this on TikTok, and I lost my account immediately. And I was like, I was like, I don't think they would take my account down unless there was some kind of truth to that. So that kind of just, that already, like 2 weeks into doing TikTok posts, kind of locked me into maybe there's something to this whole, facial markings thing. And then, I mean, 3 years later, it's like a whole new animal,
Does Meta ever fuck with you, Tyler?
I lost my account 3 times in 1 month last year. Like literally would lose it for a week, got it back, lost it again. But I honestly don't think that was Meta. I think someone was mass reporting me, and they had like 20 bot accounts, and they were using all of them to mass report me. And, but for the most part, Meta's been great as far as censorship. TikTok is the worst one now. I mean, clearly I just lost my account. The funny thing is I have a podcast now. I think I told you that, and I was talking about it, and I go live just like you do.
What's the YouTube station?
The Fittest Flat Earther podcast.
Okay.
Or my YouTube station's just the Fittest Flat Earther, but I use that platform to record. I honestly kind of just stole what you do a little bit, and I reached out. I was like, am I an idiot for not posting this on Spotify as well? And you're like, yeah, you should be doing that.
Oh, and did you start doing that? It's on Spotify too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Spotify and Apple. But I was going live, and I was talking about banning, or how my account got banned, and someone watching knew that I had just done a video on James Franco. And James Franco has been going wild on TikTok, all sorts of just weird cryptic videos. And someone speculated like, hey, you just revealed some crazy truth about James Franco. Maybe they took you down because of that. And I mean, there could be some legitimacy to that. I also had really, for the first time ever, just done a video on GLP-1s and peptides and like that type of thing. And
TikTok that was a really good video, by the way.
With the fasting, you saw that one?
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed. I had never thought of that.
I was surprised no one else had. And then I saw a bunch of people kind of ripping me off, which, like, great. I want the information out there. People were like, you know what I thought of the other day? I was like, no, you follow me. You just watched my video.
Yeah, that was good. But so do you think that there's, going back to like why things are pulled down? Do you think that there's any, do you ever think that there's any other reasons that people would have stuff pulled down in general? Not that they're just close to the truth, but like, I mean, I want to push back. I want to say it's not like when you say that, my gut reaction is to be like, no, that's not why. But hey, the only reason why I had my YouTube station suspended for a week was because during COVID, I said that the greatest thing you can do for your health is exercise and eat healthy. Don't eat sugar. And they sent me, and they said that's against WHO guidelines to give that kind of medical advice during COVID. And they shut me down for a week. I was like, for telling people to exercise and don't eat sugar.
Yeah. I mean, I've had a few on YouTube with health things. And then the only other time YouTube has gotten me was I was talking about, the Q conspiracy. I'm not a believer in Q at all, but I just was talking about QAnon, and they're like, you can't talk about this. I was like, that's really interesting, because I don't believe in the QAnon conspiracy stuff, but I was actually talking how it wasn't true. So that might be the truth that they didn't want out, because, I think QAnon is pushed to kind of like first level red pill people.
I want to come back to that, but I want to kind of talk about this. So like porn, you can't show nudity in porn, and they'll pull that down, but that's not because it's telling the truth. That's because of minors and making things age appropriate.
Right.
I'm trying to think of anything that would be pulled down that doesn't fall under that category.
Yeah. I haven't experienced it. Every time I've gotten videos pulled down or community guidelines or things like that, it always feels to me that I'm hitting too close to the truth.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was just thinking like, hey, are people like when you made the Pat Tillman Josh Bridges video,
Yeah.
I got the impression that Josh was offended, and I kind of couldn't figure out why. I was like, hey, what do you care? Like, it's like I see it as I personally see it as funny. Like, hey,
Yeah.
this guy, Pat Tillman is 6'4" and you're 5'4", and like it's just absurd to me. It's absurd, but he's fucking tripping.
Well, Pat Tillman was only 5'9", and Josh is.
Oh, he was
but,
only 5'9".
Yeah, he was short, or 5'10" or 11 maybe. But I smirk when you're saying that, because I think Josh was more offended because I don't know if you recall, but I messaged him and said, hey, I know who you are. And at first he hearted it. Like, I was like, hey, like, I think he was like, wink, wink, he knows who I am. And then I think I said something about I'm going to expose you. So I don't think he took too kindly to that.
Well, you put up a video the other day pointing out that I look like someone, and you said, and his wife looks like his wife, and that wasn't my wife, and that scared me a little bit. I'm like, oh God, I hope my wife doesn't see that video.
Oh, interesting.
That was the only time I'm like, oh shit.
Well, it's funny, we chatted not too long ago, just through text, and you said you get David Duchovny a lot, and
yeah, I do get David. I used to get it a lot.
Yeah, at the time I didn't see it, and then I'm doing comparisons of you and Rich Roll, which is oddly Finding Ultra. I'm sure you know that book.
No, what is it called?
Finding Ultra.
No, I don't know it. You recommend it?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite books. Anyway,
Is it nonfiction? Is it not? Is it about MK Ultra?
No. It's about sorry, I'm just laughing because
Finding Ultra revised. It's a ultra marathon running book.
Yeah, it's about basically a guy that he was an athlete in college, kind of lost his way, was drinking and eating too much, and then sobered up, and like maybe in his mid to late 30s became like one of the best ultra runners in the world. And I think he did 5 marathons.
He has a big nose. Is that what you're saying?
Simon, you look so much like him. I mean, I can pull up a side by side one. You know my thoughts. I think you're being coy by saying you don't know the book, especially someone even if you are not Rich Roll, someone in your nature and involvement in sports and CrossFit, I would think would know who Rich Roll is. But it's okay. We can play.
I'm gonna
look him up. Did you look up his picture?
Yeah. As soon as I Googled his name, I just saw a giant nose. I'm like, oh, this fucking guy.
Well, what's funny is I was comparing Rich Roll and you, and then one of the pictures I was using of you to compare Rich Roll, I was like, oh, he is David Duchovny. He looks like David Duchovny, and he was winking at me and kind of giving me a little insight to that. Because when you had glasses on, I was like, holy crap, you are David Duchovny. And obviously my brain goes to that because of my beliefs.
So when that show Californication came out, I wasn't watching it, and then I was like behind the curve, right? And then I think it was finally off the air, and I had found it, and I started obsessing on it, and I was just watching them every day, and I loved it, and I loved the writing of the show, and just I loved, like, he's always making all those sexual innuendos and shit and all that crazy shit.
I never saw it. So you recommend it?
I highly recommend it. Okay. And I liked it. It's only 30 minutes, and there's a little bit of nudity in every show. I always like that. And
I was a big X-Files guy, so I like David Duchovny. He does good work, Savon.
Thank you. I mean, I've never seen that show. So I thought people just started saying I looked like him because I was obsessing on the show so much. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was really obsessing on the show. I thought it was so, and I thought that maybe like I was like, you know how in my mind, the world, we're all just mirrors here, just mirroring each other, and there is no like real self. And so I thought, oh shit, I'm watching so much of this show that I'm fucking turning into this guy. Well,
it's like my wife and I we used to do videos together, and all the time people would be like, they're brother and sister, they look alike. And I'm sure you've heard you start to look like your spouse. And someone actually brought up something kind of funny. They're like, you're literally, if you're putting your DNA into someone for 25 years, maybe that actually is doing something. Not to be gross.
No, it's beautiful. That's one of the best parts of life. When my wife and I used to walk to this coffee shop every single day for 3 years, And one day I was out filming something. I was gone, and the owner said, "Oh, where's your brother?" She thought, is that what happened, Haley? Yeah. I will tell you this: when you asked, "Hey, can you send me a picture of your wife?" I'm like, "Fuck no."
I laughed pretty hard when you said that.
um, let me ask you this: do you ever think that because of the nature of your content that you are curating, like it's amazing how many likes your videos get? So what kind of person do you think you're curating in terms of like the profile of the person? Like there's people, like, people who are constantly posting negative stuff. I'm not saying you do. You can
Yeah.
tell they curate these really angry people. And like when you start seeing them everywhere, they're just curating just angry fuckers everywhere.
Yeah. It's funny because I just had this thought the other day that, I hadn't really ever thought about, like my goal is I'm just trying to help people. 3 years ago, I thought I didn't believe in any supernatural spirituality, God. I believed in the mainstream about where we live. And,
That was
that,
only 3 years ago.
yeah,
Wow.
I woke up, I think I realized that I didn't live on a globe in June of 2023. And then, I was a teacher and it was during my summer break. So I'm an all or nothing guy. So I spent 5 months down the rabbit hole. My entire like summer break, I was just nose down. If I wasn't researching, I was listening to something on like a 4-hour bike ride. So I took in a lot in a short amount of time. But usually I'm just thinking people are, um, they're curious. They're trying to figure out. They're like me. All right, what we've been told isn't true, and this guy seems to be sincere, and he seems to be providing evidence of things he's showing. I'm not, like I really, people could say I speculate, but I won't put things out into the internet if I can be proven wrong because that's just, I don't want to be a misinformation person. I want to help people and I want them to be able to connect the dots themselves. But just this other day, I had this thought that I think I blow people's mind on a daily basis. And to me, it's like, like I can remember literally the first time standing in my backyard realizing I didn't live on a spinning globe, and it was mind blowing. I was like, where am I? And I've kind of been like, it was a crazy feeling, but in a little bit of a way, like an adrenaline junkie, I've wanted to recreate that feeling because it's so
Yeah.
almost out of body. So
Yeah.
the other day I just had that. I'm like, am I just a serotonin drip for people because I'm blowing their minds on like a daily basis? So I don't know. I hope I'm just reaching people that are curious about things we've been told that are incorrect. And I'm hoping that I'm inspiring people to find some fearlessness in their life. Because I was a fearful guy 3 years ago. I would have to down a bottle of, not a bottle, but a lot of Jack Daniels before I get on an airplane because I was afraid to die. But I got no fear now, zero fear.
It is interesting how you present your content. Most people who would present content like yours present it in a way of fear based. Like there's so much fear based presenting, and you
Yeah,
don't present stuff like that. Like you don't present stuff like doomsday. Like that
yeah,
seems to be the way that most people who are presenting like new ideas that other people can't grasp. They present
yeah.
it like.
I did a video on that recently that I think there's some content creators that do that intentionally to kind of capture, like if you're not watching the mainstream news and you wake up a little bit that they're lying, well, there's kind of like a behind or like a second layer of defense to make sure people are still fear because that's how, if you're in fear, then you're easier to control. And I think they, for lack of a better term, I have my opinions on who they are, but I think they want us in fear, so we're easier to be controlled.
And just to use some real big examples, like, hey, if you don't take the vaccine, you're gonna die. If you don't wear a mask, you're gonna die. If you don't start using paper straws, you're gonna die. I mean, they get these big stories out there, and
Yeah, we're going to be blasted with nukes, which don't exist. There's global warming, and the sun's going to burn out in so many years. Yeah, exactly.
nukes don't exist.
No, I don't think so. I think they're if you look at all nuclear plants, they're all on water. All nuclear energy is getting energy from water, from boiling water. And I think they're just big old scare tactics to, keep people. I don't think anything, like, there are big bombs, but I don't think anything can blow up the entire earth.
So you're right, they are on water, but the way I thought it happened is there's some sort of splitting of an atom that releases a shit ton of heat. That heat then heats up water, and then that water spins turbines and it creates electricity.
It's, that sounds very accurate to what I did. I did a video on it, so I don't recall the exact ins and outs of it. It was a bit ago, but yeah, it seems like it's basically just using water to create energy. There's no, I think we all think of nuclear energy and we're like, all this radioactive, I'm drinking out of this is a uranium glass, and it's, they'll tell you uranium will make you sick. And I drink out of a uranium glass every day.
What do you mean it's a uranium glass?
Uranium or plutonium? Maybe I confuse those two. It's literally, I think, uranium. It's really heavy. And you can see there's like a green tint to it.
Yeah. Where did you get that?
I don't recall, online somewhere. I can't remember, to be honest.
Is that supposed to have health benefits?
Yeah, it's kind of just like drinking out of copper.
When I drinking out of copper, okay, so it gives you some like rare minerals that like you need.
Yeah, and I think copper helps the water be a little bit more live than just stagnant water.
Did we find out who Jayson Hopper is? Okay, don't get it. Is he Rob Schneider? Okay, hold on. We'll get to Jayson.
I had to do some work, Savon, because I asked you last night who you wanted, and then I woke up this morning, and I hadn't done a ton of work on Jayson, and especially hadn't on Dallin, but I put together a few pretty good things, I think.
I was chatting with someone yesterday about you coming on, and they said, doesn't he know that there's just a limited amount of like DNA, and there's just been billions of people on here, so some people are just going to look alike?
Yes, he does know that, but of course there are people that are going to look alike, but they aren't going to share the exact same scars, and they're not going to tell us the truth in plain sight with it, and the whole kit and caboodle. But yes, I'm told that on the daily. There's billions of people, which I don't know if I agree that there are 8 billion people in Earth, but I do think, yes, people look, like I was told I looked like Phil Mickelson, the golfer, as a kid, and I was told I looked like Sylvester Stallone when I was younger, and yes, people look alike. They're not, not everyone that looks alike is the same shapeshifter, but they shapeshift a lot more than even I realized even a couple of weeks ago.
Explain shape shifting to me.
Well, I'd actually love for you to explain it to me, but we don't have to go that route. Well,
in all honesty, you think that I'm a shapeshifter?
Yes, I do, Savon.
God, it's
nothing to be ashamed of. You're maybe, if like I did a video yesterday, and for the longest time, I was just like, man, if you know that the earth is flat and all these different things, and you're just keeping that from humanity, well, you're evil, because I think I was groomed for 42 years to just like hate lies and be against lies, and like, I've always just been an honest person. If I lie, it just eats at my soul. So when I wake up and I see all these people that are lying, and I just focus on that, and, quote unquote people, I don't have the full story. I don't know if there's spiritual contracts. I don't know if, I used Tia Claire Toomey as an example yesterday in my video.
Oh, that one's so good. That was
a lot of amazing things. She influences millions of young girls to be healthy and physically strong and mentally strong. And the shapeshifter that I think she was in the past is also in really positive movies and set good examples. So, I don't know where I was going with that. I think I used to think that if you're a shapeshifter, you were bad, but I'm starting to just be a little bit more open-minded to that than normal.
Has anyone ever admitted to you that they're a shapeshifter?
Yeah. A CrossFit athlete has. I don't know if I'm comfortable. A CrossFit athlete, and also Jake Paul.
Jake Paul admitted it to you?
Yeah. Jake Paul, and I'll say this, I'll keep it at this, a CrossFit Games champion admitted it to me.
Yeah, I don't want you to divulge, you know, I don't want you to it affect your trust,
Yeah.
but what do you mean they divulged it to you? Can you tell me?
Well, I asked questions, and granted, could they be messing with me, effing with me like my wife thinks? Yes. But, I asked some questions, showed them some side by sides that we'll probably show, side by sides of them and someone else and their girlfriend and the other person's wife. And I mean, to me, it's undeniable. And I actually said, are you a watcher? And for those that don't know, a watcher is biblical. They were angels that were supposed to watch over humanity. And instead of doing that, they took human wives. And I asked him if he was a watcher, and he said, yes, one of many. So again, yes, he could be just BSing me, but the rest
You
of
were
the conversation
with Jake Paul, and he said that to you?
No, that was the CrossFit athlete.
Oh,
Jake Paul just straight up, when I asked him, like, again, a lot of times the wives are undeniable, and like, it's one thing for a guy to look like another guy, but then when the guy looks like the guy and their wives look identical, to me, that's evidence in itself. Like, a great example is Robin Williams looks a lot like Teddy Roosevelt, and his wife looks identical to Teddy Roosevelt's wife. I mean, more than Teddy and Robin look together, look similar. So, yes, the CrossFit Games athlete said, I'm a watcher. I'm one of many. And then Jake Paul just straight up was like, yes, that's me. I said, can I do a video? Do you mind if I do a video? And he was, sure.
And your wife says that they're just fucking with you.
Yeah. She's very protective of me, and she doesn't believe like I do. She's come a long way. She doesn't think we live on a globe anymore, and she thinks the moon landing's fake. But as far as this person looks like that person, and this person is that person, and they have the exact same Z scar on their face and the exact same, the amount of exact scars I have found on one person to another is just, the odds are astronomically impossible.
Let me play a little bit of this. Okay. I can't believe how much she actually looks like to you.
Yes, in November. Thanks, Liza. And I couldn't help but notice this lady, Brenda Fricker, who is the bird lady from Home Alone 2. And I looked at her and I said, oh my goodness, that looks exactly like the fittest woman in Earth, Tia Claire Toomey. And I don't do this because she's a man. I do this because she's not human. Here's Brenda and Tia.
I like to think maybe Tia is not human.
And Brenda and Tia and Brenda and Tia. And Brenda, she won an Oscar. And well, Tia, like I said, she was the 8-time fittest in Earth. Yes, in, not on. There's a firmament. And well, you might not see it like I do, but by the end of this video, you might see them all because I have some evidence to show you. The next one came kind of with some humor, because this is CrossFit athlete Sam Dancer, and he and I had chatted back and forth a little bit, just as what I thought were two open-minded individuals. He's a believer in the firmament, and they came across a picture of Steve McQueen. And as a joke, because I didn't think it was him, I sent it to Sam, and I said, hey, anyone ever tell you you look like Steve McQueen? And I didn't think much more of it until a couple months later, when I started to realize that they bring their wives with them. And what do I mean by that? Well, when they play a role, they bring their wives to their new role. So I thought to check what Steve's wife looked like compared to Sam's wife. And let me first show you Steve and Sam again with the exact same mouth and smile and nose. And well, there's Steve's wife. Steve's wife with a better picture and Sam's wife.
Yeah, that's crazy right there.
Right? I mean,
that one's crazy. That one's crazy.
Yeah, I showed him that, and he was like, oh, I think his wife's name is Jenny. And he was like, oh, Jenny's been told she looks like so many people over the years. I was like, Sam, like, I understand I have a facial recognition ability, but those are like, could be twins, like identical twins. And, So that's exactly, Robin Williams' wife is the same as that close to Teddy Roosevelt's wife.
So you suspect or think that there's people who are these shapeshifters and they just don't tell you.
Right.
And then on the others, and the same thing, I want to say, I can't remember if it was you, but I had another flat earther on and they're like, come on, I think it was you. You're like, it's flat.
Yeah, that was
okay. But then on the other side, there's people who would say this, they think that maybe you're faking it in order, like that you're doing a kind of a Cirque du Soleil performance. Pat says, I call bullshit. He's not trying to help anyone. He's trying to get rich by going all in on this lunacy. All the power to him. There's morons who believe. So he thinks that maybe you're faking it.
Like that I'm a deceiver, that I'm doing it for money and likes and clicks and views.
Yeah, the money part doesn't make sense to me because obviously I'm guessing that there's other ways to make money. But they think that and it's just a fun trick you do because you're so good at spotting people who look alike.
Yeah,
like do you think I think that guy really thinks that, who wrote that.
Yeah, you know what? I said something the other day. I was live on YouTube and I had a guy just trolling me. And, like I was like, you know what? First I said, if you have nothing better to do in your time than to troll someone you don't like, what a waste of time. But if you are someone that actually thinks that I am lying and you actually think that I'm just full of crap and you don't realize I'm trying to help people, you don't realize as a teacher for 20 years and basically gave up my job and my pension to do what I'm doing. And you don't see the full story and you haven't watched 1,000 of my videos where time after time after time, I back up what I'm saying. I could see how it would anger you. I could see, because it's what I do. I'm trying to call people out who are lying. And I'm doing that from a place of love and care. And, someone saying it about me, if they truly believe that I'm just a lying deceiver, I could see where they're coming from, so and I don't think everyone can see what I show. I think I was a very healthy individual for a long time. I ate healthy. I exercised. I got sun, and I think I had a very decalcified pineal gland. And I don't think. Well, I also think this is just a mission that I was supposed to be on, but I don't think everyone can see it.
The thing is, the really weird part about you is you're saying stuff that a lot of us can't fathom, and yet you don't present crazy at all. Like you don't have crazy eyes, you don't talk erratic, you smile. Yeah. Like you seem like you seem like a dude I'd want to go to my first NBA game with. You know what I mean? And hang out, and you just seem like I wouldn't have you don't scare me in any way. Like when we text, I'm not there's some people I don't text with. I'm like, this motherfucker scares me.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when I gave you my number, you were like, I was shocked that you gave me my number or gave you my number. And, hindsight, I'm like, oh, so maybe that wasn't the best idea now that I have my thoughts about you. But no, I don't have any fear anymore. So I don't really care. The only reason I wouldn't give my number out to people is because I don't want to be harassed. But I don't actually have regrets about giving you my number.
Why don't you do more podcasts when you get invited on podcasts, over the years that, how long ago were you on the show? Do you remember? I thought it was 3 years ago.
No, it was just in January. I think it was just in January of last year.
Okay.
Because I moved into this house I'm in now. And I think within a week or two of moving in, I know I did my podcast with you here, and I've only lived here a year and a half. So maybe January or March last year.
And since then we text periodically at a pretty regular clip, and you've talked about other podcasts you've been invited to. Why don't you do them?
So I used to all the time. Probably the first year and a half to 2 years that I did. I just, if someone asked, I went on. I was new to what I was doing. I was very interested in it, and I had no one in my real life to talk to about it. So I would I was looking forward to going on a podcast and be able to talk to open-minded people about the things I was researching and to people who believed a lot of the things I did. And then I started to realize that a lot of those people doing those podcasts, and a lot of people that had befriended me maybe weren't befriending me and inviting me on podcasts for the right reasons, you know, and
Like what? Like they were taking the piss out of you? Like they're like, let's bring this circus freak on.
no, honestly, the only one I was ever worried about doing that was you, only because it was not because of you, but because of the nature of your podcast, because it's
Yeah.
not conspiracy based, and everyone else I was going on was conspiracy based. But and it wasn't, no one was mocking me or anything on these podcasts. It was more just I really started to think, I just started to see the signs and symbols of Freemasonry in the podcast that I was going on, and a lot of people had befriended me, and I kind of, you know, I'm sure you've heard of people having handlers, and it just felt like maybe people were trying to be my handlers, and I just didn't want any part of it. And what was the final straw was last October. Well, I guess maybe 2 Octobers ago now. I was invited on 5 different podcasts in October, all in LA, all in person. And I was like, that's super sketchy. I'm like, why are they trying to get me out to LA? Is it a recruitment trip? Is it they want to, you know, threaten me? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to just stay away from podcasts for a while. Yours is, I don't know if you know this, but I haven't been on one since yours.
Oh no, I didn't know that, but I know that a few times you said, "What do you think about this?" or "We've talked about that," and I was wondering. I was like, I wonder why he doesn't go on them because they fuck with him. I think that probably those conspiracy podcasts. I'm just gonna say it. I think that those probably curate a lot of fucking wackadoodles.
I don't think so.
What? Because once you start believing one, you know, like let me use this line. Like there's this line that people use that's become so overused. It used to be. Remember that line that I don't know if it's still used a lot, but everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, no shit. Like you really can't say that anymore. Like, of course, everything happens for a reason. Like there's no point there. It's just something you say to kind of settle yourself, to make you feel like, hey, you're on the right path. Well, there became this thing where it was like, hey, everything's just a distraction. It's a distraction. It's a distraction. It's a distraction. It's like, Jesus, like everything can't fucking be it. Like if everything's a distraction, then there becomes some ubiquity and it doesn't carry any weight. I feel that about conspiracy theories. Once one person sees like one thing, they think, and they also think that there's some like supreme ruler as opposed to just people's agendas just aligning.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just like they're like cogs in a wheel. Like they just align.
Yeah.
And so I think that those people, like once they kind of detach from like one thing, once they're like, hey, the moon landing's fake, then all of a sudden it opens up a whole door of them being able, like the mind has a shift and feels comfortable. And so then it becomes this cascade of just like everything's bullshit.
Well, in my opinion, everything is bullshit though. So it's like once you do figure out that one, you know, core belief of yours that you had your whole life is bullshit, you're like, well, if that was bullshit, what else is bullshit? And I think, you know, like for me, the more I learn, the more I just want to know. And the more I learn, the more I don't know. So I think that's kind of what happens to people. And then what really happens is there is no really good place you can find truth. You're being lied to on the TV, the internet's lying to you, you know, the content creators are lying to you. So I think people are just seeking truth. And I think that's a lot of why a lot of people gravitate to me because, like you said, I don't present crazy. I have evidence that I was a high school teacher for 20 years. I have my master's. I'm a calm, rational person. Now, sometimes I use a lot of sarcasm, and I didn't first start like that. When I first started doing videos, I was just speaking to the camera like with my heart, and stuff just started getting censored over and over again. So I kind of adapted like a sarcastic tone. And then I started, you know, in my whole entertainment spiel, and I started to get censored less. So I just stuck with it. You know, here I'll still do a, you know, very sincere video here and there, but the sarcastic tone I'm not that sarcastic of a person in real life.
And when you say everything is bullshit, what do you mean by that?
Everything that we have all been told from the time we were 2 years old is bullshit. If we learned it from school, it's bullshit. You know, from our history to science to, everything on TV. I mean, like the movies are all bullshit even, like there's so many movies that are just made to keep our mind in a prison of the reality they want us to believe in versus the reality that actually exists.
God, I wish I could remember where I found this. I read it on the show the other day, but it's basically like, hey, if you can't break out of the way they want you to think, you'll never see reality. There is this Taoist saying, naming is the origin of all particular things. And it is really interesting because if you look out over a landscape, it's all one until you start putting words to it. Then you'll be like, okay, there's an elephant and there's sand and there's a sun in the sky. But if you didn't have those words, you wouldn't be breaking the reality up that way. You only break it up with the words that you have.
Yeah, I like that. I've never heard that. I like that.
It's Lao Tzu said it. Naming is the origin of all particular things. It's such a fascinating statement. And it's the same thing. Like you could tell someone, hey, that's a chair. But if you told them their whole life that was a weapon, they would see it as a weapon. They wouldn't see it as a place to sit your butt. They would see it as something you pick up and break over someone's head.
Yeah, 1000%. And, I think they've done such a good, and I use the word they just for simplicity. But I think they have done such a good job of keeping us from what true reality is and making us believe in things that I think, like for me, people they hear I'm a flat earther and they immediately just think of the propaganda we've been shown, like a stupid flat disc with water falling off the edge. And all they've ever seen their entire lives is a picture of a globe. So you can't even begin to picture where else we might live because it's been so ingrained in you. And it's like, Earth, immediately you go to globe and just that picture of the blue marble. And they're brilliant at painting a picture of the world that's different than what it actually is. And, I'm guilty of believing it for a long time.
Coach, Sasquatch, but someone would figure out you can comfortably sit on this thing and make a better seat than a weapon. Yeah, totally. Like you don't want to sit on the tip of a sword. Great point. So let me propose this to you. When I had my moment where I got a full reboot, I watched my brain start to reassemble reality. And my whole life since then, I'm like, wow, why did I couldn't stop it. Do you know what I mean? Like the computer rebooted and I saw a clean slate and I could perceive the world for what it is, but I still reassembled it. Do you think that there's any part of you who's doing that to where you got a reboot, you know what I mean? A flash of light, the hard drive's erase, and then instead of and now you're reassembling it with the way so that there's really no difference between calling the earth round or calling the earth flat. You're just reassembling, making order so that you can sustain your existence here as opposed to just being comfortable, just sitting in the unknown. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, 1000%. I did it consciously. When I stood in my backyard and I was like, where in the world am I? Like, I literally was like, where am I? And I made a conscious decision to maybe not in that moment, but to literally forget everything I thought I knew, start fresh. And I wanted to just start accumulating things that I could prove to myself with my own experience, my own two eyes. I didn't want to believe anything from anyone anymore. I wanted to either know or not know. I didn't want to believe anything. And so, for 3 years, I've been systematically trying to add things that I can know, not believe, because I don't like believing. I believed for 42 years of my life and I believed a lot of lies. So I kind of want to put believing to the side. And that doesn't mean there aren't things I believe, I believe there are fallen angels here for sure, but I can't prove that. Now I'm proving that there are shapeshifters here, and I'm proving that there are, beings that have lived for hundreds of years. I'm proving that. Now, can I 100% prove they're, biblical fallen angels? No, but I believe they are strongly.
Oh yeah. And that's interesting what you just said. That's probably where our realities intersect on the belief component. God, I wish I could find this. I wish I could find this write up I just saw the other day about what a waste of time it is to believe things.
Well, it's an old cliche saying, once you, if you're awake and you've been in the truth or conspiracy world, everyone's heard it, but the saying that belief is the enemy of knowledge, it's very true.
Yeah, and not to say that you should disbelieve, but that believing is a huge hindrance. Do you feel like you've kept a tether to that spot in you that where you can rest, where you don't know anything since you got, because to me that's such a treasured spot in my being, to be able to go, like I never, once I got the reboot and I saw like the infinity, I just made sure I tethered a line to it so I could always get back there. Like the great unknown.
I think I live in that every day. I think it's part of what drives me, you know, because I like truly, like I said, I feel like I've uncovered a lot of things the past several years that maybe no other human has. But the more I do that, the more I realize I don't know anything, you know? So
Right.
it's like a constant reminder, like, you know, so yeah, it's always in my back pocket.
This is a bizarre comment. I had a friend, I had a friend recently. No, after the first time you came on, I went to dinner with this friend and I was telling them about you, and they said, "Why would you give that person airtime?" I
I
don't even.
remember you telling me that,
I don't even think I understand the question.
yeah.
As opposed to give,
They have
as
thoughts
opposed to
about
give,
me
as
that,
opposed
you
to
know,
give
that I'm a
who air,
crazy.
as opposed to give who airtime.
Say
I
that
don't. As opposed to give who
Oh,
airtime. Like,
yeah,
why would
yeah.
you? Like, I'm not. I don't even.
I mean,
What
I
do you
would
mean?
say at the
Is that
very, you know,
person
like if you
afraid of
don't,
hearing your ideas? Is that person like? What would you say? Why would someone say that? They're afraid to hear your ideas, or they think that your existence that isn't worthy. I don't even understand.
I mean, I think they probably
Are
just
they
have to think
scared?
that I'm, you know, a crazy conspiracy guy or that I'm a professional deceiver. You know,
But
I'm,
but what's the real reason? Are they scared? They're scared to like explore. I get it a lot. Like, once you get the reboot, I could go anywhere in my head. And I
yeah,
meet people all the time that can't go anywhere in their head. They're trapped in little sections of their brain, right?
right.
Um and but what do you think the foundation of it? Do you think that they're just scared? They just can't go to everywhere in their head?
Yeah, I think I'll use my brother as an example, and he would probably hate that I'd be talking about him. But I have two brothers, so you don't know which one if you if you know them.
Okay.
But when I first started going down these rabbit holes, and I was a full believer that I didn't live on a globe, you know, my family was very concerned about me. Not because I was
Yeah, I get
I
it.
was acting out of sorts because I was trying to tell them because I
Yeah,
care about them and I love them and I wanted
yeah,
them to know they'd been lied to. And my brother, they literally had like an intervention with me, my two brothers and my mom, and you know, we were having this conversation, and my brother said, you know, I'll say this. When you kept saying the earth was flat, I was like, I'm going to go online and I'm going to prove you wrong in 5 minutes. He said it took 5 minutes and I couldn't, then 10, then 40 minutes, and then an hour went by and I couldn't prove you wrong. And he's like, but I'll be honest, I want nothing to do with it. Like, and I
yeah,
think that
yeah.
was one because he saw the turmoil I was going through with friends and family and coworkers and every aspect of my life at first. And I think, yes, I think that just scared the crap out of him. So he
Yes,
shut the door and hasn't looked back.
yes.
So yeah,
And that's the red pill moment too, right? Like that's the moment in the Matrix. You offered him the pills, and he's like,
yeah,
"Nah, I'm good. I'm going blue."
yeah.
Yeah,
Ignorance is bliss. Yep.
yeah. I don't I don't I suspend judgment for people who on that. You know what I mean? Unfortunately for them, if you can get settled in the red pill world, it's life is much more fun.
Oh yeah. I mean, I had turmoil the first few months, but you know,
Yeah,
I mean, I would never go back. You know, it was like I had to go through some darkness to get to the brighter light, and now I'm living in that brighter light, and it's awesome.
yeah,
I wouldn't trade anything in the world for being fearless, and I am a thousand. Nothing scares me, like, you know, nothing. So, and I wasn't like that before.
yeah. When you had this job at the high school, did you quit the job before you started going deeper into these things, or did like I'm guessing if the high school found out you had this Instagram account, they'd be like, "Hey, yo, we got someone who needs meds."
Well, yeah, it's a good story. So like I said, I woke up really at the end of the school year of 2023. And then I just went balls to the wall, conspiracy down the rabbit hole for that summer break. I don't, you know, like my whole high school teaching career, I would take the summers to reboot and bike ride and exercise, be on my paddleboard at the beach, just like living life, not doing coaching or anything. But that summer, I just went down the rabbit hole. And it got to be literally the day before I was going back to school. And I was posting on Instagram. I had started a TikTok. I was posting there, and I was starting to post on Instagram. And I had students that followed me there, and I had teachers that followed me there. So they were very aware of what was going on. And I said to my wife the day before school started, and, because I was still in fire hose mode, like trying to blast everyone with this information I had. I was like, Liza, I think if I go to school tomorrow, I'm going to get fired. And she's like, well, what do you mean? What are you going to do? I was like, I don't think I can bite my tongue. I don't think I can not talk about this stuff. So I didn't go the next day. I went to a doctor. I never went to doctors, but I had a primary care doctor. And I was like, Doc, like, what, can you give me some sort of couple weeks thing, like a mental holiday? And
yeah,
he gave me, I think 5 or 6 months. So I took the entire first semester off, paid, because I had, I hardly took days off as a teacher. So I had all these sick days saved up, and I just got my bearings back for 5 months. I got my bearings back, and then winter break hit, and I was like, okay, I'm good to go back. And I had just been posting nonstop during that time. So they knew. So I told my department chair, and then I told the principal, and, or he told the principal, and they're like, okay, Tyler, but we need to have a meeting first. So I had a meeting with like the entire school administration. And
wow.
Yeah,
How
they're
many
like, so
people was that? How many people
it was
was
like
that?
12 people at a table, me at the head, and they're just like, like it was a big, I had never in all the 20 years I've been teaching, like been at like a table of all the heads of people. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, well, clearly, we need to have conversation. And one of the first things they said is, if a student asks you what shape you think the earth is, what are you going to say? And I said, I'm going to tell them it's flat. And like, you can't do that. I was like, well, what do you mean I can't do that? They're like, well, you can't say that. And I was like, well, I'm not going to lie to a student. And then they said, well, we can't let you walk in the building. And I spent the next 40 minutes using logic and reason and explaining how that was unreasonable. And, like, I didn't need to expand on it. I didn't plan on standing up there teaching flat earth. But if a kid asked me, I should be able to be honest. Just like if a kid asked you who you're going to vote for, if you wanted to tell them, you should be able to. Like, so I convinced them that they were being unreasonable. And they said, okay, but if you come in, you need to answer the question and then deflect it to, what they call the professionals in the field, the science teachers of the school. I'm like, I guarantee you I know more about the heliocentric model of the earth than every single science teacher in this building, but okay. So I went back, and I lasted about a month before I was like, I can't do this. Kids were mocking me, and then with kids mocking me, like, to me, it was crazy, because I was like, if we were outside these buildings, I would choke slam you for what you were saying to me in my face, you little punk.
Yeah.
I didn't do that, obviously. And administration didn't back me. They're like, we can't punish a kid because they don't believe in flat earth. I was like, what are you talking about? This kid's calling me an idiot, not prompted by me at all. You should have my back as administration. So they didn't have my back. And the whole goal of me going back was I wanted to try to make a difference inside the school system. Like, hey, a lot of the school stuff that we're learning isn't true. Like, let's do something about it. And I told my department chair, I was like, hey, I don't think, I'm thinking about not coming back next year. And this was around spring break. And he was like, okay, well, if you ever make that decision, let me know. So then an incident happened, and he came back the next day, and he's like, if you ever make that decision, well, you can leave the school year now because you have enough sick days paid off where you don't have to finish the year if you don't want. And I was like, I'll think about it. And then another incident happened where administration didn't back me. I was like, peace, I'm out of here.
Can you tell me the last incident that happened? Do you remember?
I do. This kid already had once returned a basketball to me. He's like, hey, you see that ball? It's round. And I was like, okay. He was like a punk basketball player at the school. And then I just ignored it. Like, I'm like, whatever. I'm not going to let this little punk kid get on my nerves. And then a few days later in the locker room, there were like 1 or 2 kids remaining. And my job was to be in the locker room until all kids are out, so kids don't get stuff stolen. And there were one or two kids being slow. I was like, hey, come on, guys, like, hurry up, let's go. We got to get out to class. And I just heard a voice yell, shut up, screamed it. And I was like, well, that's weird. I've never been disrespected like that in all my years. And I walked over and I said, and I saw it was the kid with the ball. And I said, excuse me. And he made another snide comment about flat earth. And I was like, you know what? Like, I was going to just say, you're being disrespectful and leave it. And I was like, but now you got to go to the dean. And then he refused to go to the dean. We had to get security. And then that's when the school was like, they didn't do anything. They let him back into class that day after mocking me, telling me to shut up, at least keep him in lunch detention.
Yeah.
And that's when the dean said to me, she's like, well, we can't reprimand a kid because he doesn't believe in flat earth. I was like, I sent him to the dean because he was rude and disrespectful. I was like, it had nothing to do with flat earth. I was like, you guys are ridiculous. So yeah, that was the last straw. And I haven't, hindsight, I honestly wish I used my belief in biblical cosmology because that's what it is. And I'm like, hey, you are not allowing me to have my religious beliefs in the school. So we're going to have an issue, because it's like the way I believe it, the earth is what's exactly in the Bible.
It's pretty wild now that it's acceptable across schools across this country to not distinguish between men and women, honestly. And yet someone had a problem with you thinking that the earth was flat.
Saban, they put tampons in the boys' bathroom the month before I left school.
Oh my God.
And they had a problem with me saying I believe the earth was flat. Yes.
Oh my God. If I went to a high school and they did that, I would take all the tampons out and put taco sauce on them and stick them all over the walls. I did that anyway. We would go to the store and get tampons in high school and stick them all over. Not tampons, sanitary napkins. And we would get ketchup and squirt them on them and stick them on people's lockers.
Nice, Savan. I would be lying if I said I didn't at least contemplate ripping the thing off the wall, but I didn't. I used better judgment.
God, that's really amazing. So the reason why I trip on the flat Earth thing is because the man and woman thing, conflating those and not being honest about those, it causes a huge. It's a big dose of insanity to me. And
what do you mean, the man and woman? The man and never mind.
Like telling little boys it's okay to be a woman, or you can be a woman, or you're being a codependent to other people's insanity. That's disruptive to civilization. I don't see the disruptive. Like, if you think the Earth is flat, I personally, maybe I'm missing something. I don't see the disruptive nature it is to civilization. I don't have a. It doesn't affect me if you think the Earth is flat in any way. But if you think it's okay for men to be women and women to be men, then I have a problem if I have a little daughter and she's in a locker room somewhere. And when I really know the real reason why these people are doing it is for their sexual gratification. And I don't think like you think the Earth is flat for your sexual gratification. So like I'm you know what I mean? It's like I don't see the I don't see the cascading effect of the problems of you believing what you believe.
Yeah, and I'm so curious to know, that was 2.5 years ago now. I'm just so curious to know because I do feel like a lot of people have become more open-minded to what I believe about the Earth. And I'm so curious to know if any of those people that were sitting in that boardroom have either seen other people talk about it or heard other people talk about it. I was talking to a science teacher. He was kind of curious about it, and he was open-minded. He wasn't rude. But he also drove a Tesla, so I knew I was fighting an uphill battle. Just so curious to know if any of their thoughts or opinions of me have budged whatsoever.
You made a post about the Earth losing gravity on August 12th, and I've seen that scattered throughout. Is there any truth to that?
Well,
what's the backstory to that?
Man, there's so much information on it. One, I as a person who believes we're on a stationary enclosed Earth that is flat with terrain, gravity doesn't exist. So, there's buoyancy and density, and everything in this world is, electric. We're electric beings, and the Earth is a big old grounding station. So what holds things to the ground is electricity, and everything else is buoyancy and density. So my personal opinion is no. The Earth
By buoyancy and density, you're saying the same way something floats on water because it's not it's less dense than water. We stick to the Earth because we're more dense than air, like that.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And also, like we're light bodies. We're teeming with electricity, and the Earth is a net neutral or negative charge. So it's like it's like magnets.
Yeah.
So I don't think gravity is a thing, but there was a thing floating around there that the Earth was going to lose gravity on August 12th. And immediately my mind went to, just because, my mind just goes places. Immediately my mind goes, I bet there's an eclipse on that day. And they're using scare tactics, fear tactics to keep us inside, because during eclipses, there's anomalies you can see in the sky that should clue you into you're not being told the whole truth. Like it's not the moon that eclipses the sun. You can see in layers of the firmament. So my mind first went to, they just want us inside. They're scaring us to be inside. Same reason they tell us to wear, glasses during the eclipse. So, or some, to block out seeing things. And also because there's a ton of spiritual energy. There's also what's called the Lionsgate portal that's opening around that time. There's just like positive energy coming at us. So I did that post like 7 months ago. And then just the other day, it also hit me that I've had this is probably the video you saw, but my whole life, well, since I was 12 or 13, I've only had one song that just, when I hear it, I'm like sent back in time. I can smell, I can see, I can feel, I know exactly where I was, who I was with. And I've only had one song that entire time, and it's been Black Hole Sun. And somehow it came across, I think it just came on the radio, and it made me think about the video, and the video has people floating in it, like you were losing gravity, so there's people floating, and in the video, there's a big old eclipse, a black hole, a sun with a black hole in it. So I just kind of made the interesting comparison that they're talking about people floating, like losing gravity on the 12th. There's a video about a black hole sun, which is an eclipse, and that the people are floating in it. So I don't know, I didn't want, like you said earlier, I didn't want to make it a fearful video, but I just made some interesting connections that I thought people should see. But mostly I think it's probably to just keep us fearful inside, so we don't get the upgrade from probably the amazing positive energy coming, and so we don't see the literal sun in the firmament through the layers. Now, the April 8th eclipse during 2023 or 2024, I sat in my backyard in Illinois and I stared at it for an hour, and I had fasted 2 or 3 days leading into it. And for the next 4 days, I kid you not, I walked around like I was on a serotonin drip, just like the most positive. It felt like I was on the most amazing positive feeling drugs. And I think a lot of that was just like, whatever's coming through that Lionsgate portal, I don't know what it is, but I think they don't want us to upgrade spiritually, mentally, physically, and that might be part of it.
Someone said you look like Alexander Volkanovsky. I wouldn't have thought of that on my own, but I could see it.
Some UFC fighter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, someone told me that a couple months back. I actually told someone I thought they were Christian Bale. And he was one of the people that invited me out to LA, where Christian Bale lives, and he looks just like Christian Bale. And he's like, well, I'm not Christian Bale, but I could say you look like that dude. So I did see a resemblance though.
And he's been on the show.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Christian Bale or the fighter?
the fighter. The people around you, like your wife, does she ever get nervous that you're going to accuse her of being someone?
No.
Or like would that be paranoid? Like that would go, like you've been married to her for 20 years, and then you go through this awakening, and then you look at her and you're like, holy shit, I've been living with a shapeshifter.
No, I mean, I don't think anyone in my personal life, I never have those thoughts. However, like I was talking about earlier, a lot of people befriended me the first couple months I was awake, first year I was awake. And I do think some of the people that I considered closer to me as my online community of friends, I think I think they are for sure. I think, so there's a creator named John Truth. And I don't know if you've seen, I've done a whole bunch of videos on different NFL quarterbacks. And I live in Florida. So I was like, oh, why don't, like if anyone might be a fallen angel, Trevor Lawrence looks like, he's like, literally looks like a Greek god. He's got blonde flowing hair. He's got, he's tall. He's just looks like what a fallen angel would look like. And I was like, I'm going to find him. And I pulled up a picture and I just looked at his face. I was like, holy crap. I have his number in my pocket. I talk to him all the time. He is my content creating buddy, John Truth. And then I, went down the rabbit hole.
Is this Trevor Lawrence?
Yes, that's Trevor Lawrence. And then you should pull up another picture of, I think if you pull up John Truth, he'll probably just come up.
Okay.
So yeah,
is that his real name, or is that some sort of like stage name?
John Truth is his username.
Refuting John Truth.
Maybe not refute. Well, just or
I can't find him. A black guy came up. I'm assuming you don't mean a black guy.
Maybe John Truth TikTok or John Yahoo Nation. He goes by John Truth Yahoo Nation, I think.
Oh, I think I found him. Oh, I spelled his name wrong.
Jon.
Okay.
Well, and so I reach out to John. I was like, brother, I was like, plead the fifth, ignore my response. I just asked, don't lie to me. And I sent him a picture side by side of him and Trevor. And, he was basically like, he denied it. And he even got on a FaceTime with me, and I talked to his wife, and he's like, this is my wife, Mariska. And we talked, and like, I felt better about it for a minute, gave him the benefit of the doubt, but then I do what I do and looked up facial markings and scars and blemishes, and then thought to look up his wife, and the wives look identical. Trevor Lawrence's wife's name is Marissa. His wife's name is Mariska. So yeah, I've been befriended by shapeshifters, but I don't worry about them being in my everyday life. But I mean, I consider you a friend, Sanon, and I think you're a shapeshifter. You know that. I can't tell if you really believe that or not. Well, I thought you were going to say, I don't consider you a friend.
Oh, no.
Yes, I do fully believe. I mean, especially the David Duchovny thing. Sanon, you told me a couple weeks ago you get David Duchovny all the time, and then for some reason I didn't see it, and then I saw the one picture. I was like, oh, he was telling me in the moment he is David Duchovny. So yes, I think you are Fox Mulder. I do. I truly do. And that can sound crazy to some of your usual listeners, but I know the people who are here listening to me that follow me probably realized that is absolutely true.
No, I'm not. No, David Duchovny's a libtard. I was literally about to type a bet. I bet Trevor's wife's name is Marissa. You know what bummed me out about David Duchovny when I found out he was a libtard too? I'd heard this. I had heard that all of these CEOs who were doing all of this crazy shit that's fucking detached from reality, that they were being affected by their daughters who were gone away to college and their wives. And I started looking into it more and more, and it's like, holy shit, these women are having tremendous influence over these powerful men, and then their daughters are going away to college and having tremendous influence over their dads when they come back. And so then I started looking into David Duchovny, and that's exactly what happened to him. These men have these daughters, and then they get kind of they get preoccupied with trying to make their daughters happy by fulfilling their agendas of their brainwashing that happens in the institutions.
Interesting. You know what I have found that fallen angels or shapeshifters, whatever we want to reference them as, you know what I found they like a lot too?
What?
Duality.
Oh. Right. Like to play both sides.
Yeah, kind of like Jack Johnson and Epstein. Have you ever seen that one I did comparing Jack Johnson and Epstein? I
was at a party the other day and the dude walked in and I thought, fuck, is that Jack Johnson? He said it wasn't, but man, the guy fucking looked just like Jack Johnson. I feel like Jack Johnson and Kelly Slater and Chris Spieler, and like there's this look that these guys have that I always think there's just this look.
Was that a clue? Is Chris Spieler also
No,
Kelly Slater?
no.
Oh, interesting.
As a fellow shapeshifter, I cannot share. Other, I love the fact that the Jake Paul and a CrossFit Games athlete talk to you, and I do side with your wife on the issue. I think they're just like
messing with me.
I don't even know if it's so much they're messing with you. This is going to be crazy, but it's so it's like for those of us who don't think like you, it's so weird to be accused of that.
Yeah.
It's almost, I don't want to say it's flattering, but it's I'm for sure stimulated by it. And there's places where I can see where you intersect with me. Like, I don't believe that there's gravity, but not because I think the earth is flat, but because I know naming is the origin of all particular things, and that as human beings, there is no truth. We're just searching for explanations of things so that we can navigate reality. And I don't understand how other people can't see that. Like, hey, that doesn't mean you can't use the concept of reality or the math behind the concept behind gravity or the math behind gravity in order to build a roller coaster or an airplane, or it functions in whatever reality we're in. But like, hey, dude, like this is just an explanation. And since then, if you dig into it, gravity's been proven false by even Einstein, that there's even other theories that explained how we are attached to the earth with more precision. And
yeah, they've even changed the definition of what gravity is over the years. It used to be mass attracts mass, and now it's the bending and warping of space-time.
Yeah, it's okay. Right. And it's okay to use it and still not know. It's like red light means stop. We know it's not true, but it's okay to use it. I'm not saying like it's not functional.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question.
It's absolutely functional. Like, fucking please stop at a red light. And hey, and it's this, the example I always like to use, Tyler, is there was a Queen of England or something one time, and she took a month off the calendar, and fucking the constituents of fucking the UK fucking rioted because they thought that meant they lost 2 months of their life. And I'm like, holy fuck, we live with some really dumb people.
They never gave us that month back.
Say that again.
They never gave us that month back because a natural cycle is 13 months.
Oh, that is true. That is true. Your natural cycle is 13 months.
Yeah.
You're gonna
let me ask you a question.
And then say what you're gonna say, and then I want to ask about that because that doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay. Well, we can go there first.
Wouldn't we always fall behind a month if every 12 years? If like every 12 years, wouldn't it end up that summer is in December then?
Well, if they add extra, like if it was all 28 days and there was no leap year, no, it evens out. But that's why the months are different days. And,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what the moon cycle should be every 28 days, and it does. The moon circles us, and it does circles getting larger, just like the sun, and it returns back every 13 months to the exact same spot.
So, but it's the same that when the year was 13 months, it was still the same amount of days.
All months were 28 days, I believe, because a moon cycle is 28 days.
Okay. Okay. What were you going to ask? Sorry.
No. Sorry. So you said when we pulled up Sandancer's wife and Steve McQueen's wife, you saw how similar they looked, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like for me, the odds of me seeing someone that I say, hey, Steve McQueen looks an awful lot like Sam Dancer, to the point where I didn't think it was him at the time, but to the point where I send it to Sam because Sam and I were in communication. And I say, hey, he looks an awful lot like you. Joke. And then several months later, I decide to look up the wives, and the wives look exactly the same. And then because of that, I decide to look up facial markings, and they have the exact same mole on their cheek and a few different ones. To me, and then also, Sam saying his mother was an angel, and Sam saying that he thinks he might have some Nephilim bloodline. To me, they're not messing with me. They're either giving me some clues or half truths because for whatever reason, you guys can't fully disclose who and what you are. But I'm just curious, is that just a bunch of coincidences in your mind, or how do you see that as me not being onto something?
Sorry, I'm going to tell you a little story. There's this dude in the CrossFit space, and he fucking looks like me, but 10 years older and 20 pounds lighter. And everyone, no, not hip and still. He's a judge. He goes to all the events.
Oh yeah. What's his name? I know his name.
Someone sent me.
He's got a brother too that is in CrossFit, or
I don't know if he has a brother. I want to say he's a foreigner too. Every time I see him, I walk up to him and I hug him. I want to say he's a foreigner and that he has an accent. Maybe I'm wrong. He just looks like
I'm not thinking of the right guy.
He just looks like a Oh, someone just sent me a text and a picture of what's the guy that looks like me? Rich Kroll? Rich Roll. Someone just sent me a text who I don't text very often, goes, "Hey man, this fucker got a point."
I mean, you guys even have the same exact style and glasses. I think you should pull up a picture of your wife. And Rich Roll's wife. I bet you won't do it, will you?
Let me see. I won't pull a picture of my wife, but let me see.
I emailed myself a whole bunch of stuff. Do you want me to pull up the one of you and Rich that I did?
Well, I really want to know who Jayson Hopper is. Rich Roll's wife. Okay. Yeah. Rich Roll's wife could be my wife.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, this yeah, she could probably this one. I guess because Haley, come over here. Do you think that looks like you at all? I mean, could you see what? The girl I made desert runners with. I was hoping you'd never see that or ask me that. So what about this guy? There's a guy at these events that looks just like me, Tyler. I mean, like, even I trip. I'm like, hey, dude, both of us can't be in the room at the same time.
Like, I do think shapeshifters have siblings as well.
Oh, yeah. Then this fucking dude is definitely my sibling. And what's weird, he's not even. I don't think he's Middle Eastern or Armenian like me. He's like, I want to say he's South American or something. You know what I mean? Latin.
Yeah, I was comparing David Duchovny and John Ritter the other day, and also,
I was a huge John Ritter fan as a kid.
Oh yeah,
huge John Ritter. And then he made the movie. And I was a little sad when I don't usually get sad when people die. I was a little sad when John Ritter died. Yeah, John Ritter died.
You were fond of that character?
I wasn't fond of that character. You know when I really liked him? What was the movie he was in where he played with the
Problem Child?
No, the non-comedy he was in. He played a gay guy in this movie.
I don't know.
What's the movie? Sling Blade. Did you ever see Sling Blade?
Oh yeah. I forgot he was in that with Billy Bob.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, I love John Ritter. Like, just I couldn't even believe that was him. I was like,
that was a good movie. I forgot he was the other guy in that.
Did Ritter die of AIDS?
I don't know.
John Ritter, AIDS.
In my opinion, he didn't die at all, but that's neither John Ritter.
John Ritter did not have AIDS. The actor passed away on September 11, 2003 at the age of 54 from acute aortic dissection, a severe tear in the wall of the main artery carrying the blood from the heart. Oh, that sucks. I don't normally get sad when actors and actresses die, but him and Robin Williams, I didn't like that either.
Well, you should just follow Uncle Pappy. You'll get all the fill of Robin Williams you want.
Who's Uncle Pappy?
Oh, come on. You've never seen any of my Uncle Pappy videos?
Maybe I have.
He's a internet influencer that, in my opinion, is Robin Williams, is Teddy Roosevelt. You should follow him if you don't. I mean, it's even, I'll say this. My mom doesn't believe a thing I say. She even thinks Uncle Pappy is Robin Williams.
Oh, yes. I've seen this. Okay, I'll follow him.
Yeah, you should. So do you want me to pull up?
Yeah, pull up Jayson and Dallin. Hey, are all the CrossFit Games athletes suspects of because of their elite performances and their special superhuman powers? Are they all
That's
suspect for angels?
Simon, you just talked about one of the questions I want to, like, there's a million questions I have. One of the ones I'm so curious about that I asked Medeiros is, like, do they even have to train? Is the training all show? Because in my opinion, they can, like, I think the steroids is like a misdirection because I think they're shapeshifters. Just like I think, like they push a lot of trans stuff in, not CrossFit, but in Hollywood and things like that. I think that's a misdirection because I think shapeshifters, for the most part, can either potentially show male or female. But I don't know. At first I thought maybe it was just the games champions and like the high level ones, but I'm starting to rethink that and think that, maybe all 40 men and women are at the CrossFit Games are all some sort of shapeshifters, because I found a few that, weren't on the podium.
You ever read the book? You should read this book, dude. This book will fucking blow your brain. It is called, guys, what's my favorite book? It was written by one of Alfred Hitchcock's and Haley, what's my favorite book? It was written by one of Alfred Hitchcock's contemporaries and Ray Bradbury's contemporaries. And who's the guy who did Scientology? Not Illusion by Richard Bach. That's got to be top 5 favorite books too. But An Earth Unknown or shit. Sci-fi.
Text it to me after. Are you looking it up?
Sci-fi classic. Robert Heinlein wrote it. Heinlein. You got to see this. You got to read this book, dude. This might answer your question about whether they train or not.
Okay. Robert
Heinlein. It's where the word grok comes from. Jesus, someone help a brother out. Stranger in a Strange Land. Stranger in a Strange Land. You got to read this, dude. Okay. You gotta read this. You listen to the audiobook. The guy who reads it is brilliant too. It's
perfect. I needed something to listen to while I was biking.
It's all the religions and everything just smashed into one. And it's this guy comes from another planet, and there's duality is like a huge part of it.
Cool.
One of the major premises of the book is like how sad it is that Earthlings are the only enlightened people in the cosmos that aren't unisex. You guys get to have sex and procreate. The rest of us don't.
Interesting.
And you guys are fucking it all up. It's a
like how you said the rest of us don't.
Yeah, it's not rhetorically. Okay. Before we look into Jayson Hopper, I this is a really important thing I'm going to pull up here, and this is a great question because you have to understand something when you speak to someone who believes or knows the Earth is flat.
Mm-hmm.
You are making presuppositions in this question. If the Earth is flat, how can you leave California? Just know that I'm just saying you have to realize presuppositions you're making when you ask questions, because so many of us are brainwashed thinking we're asking questions when we're just reaffirming our beliefs. First of all, you believe in California, you believe in flying, you believe in west and east and north and south. You have to remember, like the first time I felt like such an idiot. The first time I had a flat earther on, I'm like, how do you not fall off the edge? And the guy was just laughing at me. And then there's that joke meme of what flat earthers or what globalists think the Earth looks like. And it's just this flat thing floating in space. Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah, of course I was making that presupposition. I was taking my own model and trying to, you have to come at it with such a fucking open mind.
Yep.
Okay. Do you want to try to field this question? Because I think it's a good entryway. How can you fly west and end up in the same spot you left, like circle the globe?
Well, so when I grew up, I lived in a neighborhood, and my neighborhood was like rows of streets, and there were 2 main streets that connected that. So like picture a circle, like, or even a cul-de-sac. If you pull out of your driveway in a cul-de-sac and you take a left, you're going to drive in a circle and come back to the same spot. It's the same thing. You're just elevated in the air. You are making a circle, but it doesn't need to be going, like what people don't understand is you can prove this. This is not speculation. A compass works by pointing north. east and west are the circles that it makes around north, and south is everything away from north. So if you, for a visual, think of literally, this is not what the earth is, but think of a pizza. The center of the pizza is north. And anytime you have a compass, if you lay it flat, it is going to point to the center of the pizza.
Yeah.
And east and west are going circles around that center, and south is anything, any direction away from the center. So all you're doing is you're flying in a circle, just not around a ball. You're flying in a circle over a flat stationary plane. And if you really think about it, not one of us has ever been in a plane where that nose is diving down at all. You ascend and then you fly flat and horizontal for the entire trip until you start to descend. And if you look up the mathematics of how much your nose would have to be constantly diving down if you were flying across the United States or across the earth, that you would 1000% feel the nose down direction.
Think of all the gas we could save if they would just admit the earth was flat. What?
I don't know if I answered that well, but I tried.
No, hey, I don't believe, I believe the earth is round, but and that we're floating out in the fucking middle of nowhere, but that's the best explanation I ever heard of it. If the compass is always pointing towards north and north is the center of the pizza, then yeah, you'd just be flying in circles all day. Like the circle. That's the first time I've ever been able to grasp any of that.
People should look up Mount Meru or Rupus Nigra. There used to be, or there is, a giant magnetic rock at the center of the earth. And it's what all our compasses point at. And to me, I think it maybe is the petrified tree of life. And it's what our compasses point at. And even something that's very interesting about that is there's something called the DEW line, the distant early warning line that they installed during the Cold War. And, they said it's in the north, and they say it was to detect if Russia was coming across the globe. But in my opinion, it's to detect if people are going towards that center of the earth, because if you saw a giant, huge magnetic mountain sticking out of the earth that all our compasses point to, it might clue you into, especially if green lights are coming down from the aurora borealis, you might be like, hey, what in the world is going on here?
Remind me when we're offline, there's something I want to share with you. Maybe I'll slip it into the show somewhere.
Okay. So
this thing that I can see that no one else, I've never heard anyone else say they can see, but I could go outside right now and look and see it. It just takes a little while for me to focus on it.
Is it like a second sun type deal?
No, it's I'll just tell you.
Okay.
If any time that I just lay on the ground and look up at the sky and take deep breaths and relax my eyes, I can see a giant, actually, I can do it in a room too. I can just look anywhere and I'll just see this giant spirograph start forming. And it's green and it spins slowly, but it's perfect. It's like a spider. It's like, remember spirographs as a kid?
Yeah.
And it's like basically this electric dome. But anyway, and I could just like lay down and look at a white ceiling and it'll appear. Of course, I have thoughts of like, hey, is that just something that's on my eyelids,
right,
or you know what I mean? But inside my head. But
so it's not specific to California or anything. It's like you're anywhere you see it.
Anywhere, yeah. Even when I was in Africa, I did it. But I can just look up and it's just spinning. There's nothing in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it rotates. It's spinning.
Probably
it's like
the ether, maybe. Maybe you can actually see the ether.
It's like an electric net.
Yeah.
It looks like an electric net.
Interesting that it's called the internet.
Yeah, it's a trip. I could see this thing before there was the internet.
Yeah. So
you've never seen that? Just look up and look at the sky and seen that?
No, I'm dying to. I'll have to check it out.
The problem is the reason why I think so many people don't see it is people can't even stay still for 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Let alone like the 2 minutes it takes of just chilling and looking up and relaxing.
So I remember you telling me a story last time I was on of like basically laying here, allowing yourself to die for the most part. Is that when you first started to see this?
After that.
Okay. And was that moment where you kind of had your reset?
Yeah, that was the one I had my reset.
You also said something else that's it's been on my mind lately. You said something about this guy that you used to see all the time, and then you saw him at a totally random place that didn't make sense. You're like, what are you doing here? And I don't know if it was that guy, but someone told you there's
that guy still appeared. So just for people who don't know,
yeah,
there was a guy who just appeared in my life out of nowhere. I'll tell it really quick, as fast as I can. I would get up every morning at 5 a.m. and walk my 3 Great Danes, and I was living in my motorhome at the time. And I would just, the way I would walk them is I would follow the crows. So there'd be crows in the neighborhood, and wherever they flew, we would walk with the dogs. And I would just do that in this neighborhood. And one day it was 5 a.m. and I go out to the middle of this park, and there's a guy sitting out there, and he's got like he's probably like, I can't tell how old he is. Now I've seen him now 20 years later, and I still don't know how old he is. His name's Raymond. And so I go over to him and I said, "Hey, what's up?" And he goes, "Hey." And I go, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I was waiting for you." And I go, "What for?" He goes, "Oh, I have something for you." And I said, "Okay." So we walk like, I don't remember where we walk. We walk like 100 yards to the back behind this building. And this is a college beach town, Isla Vista. And he opens this, there's a big cardboard box that's like, pretty big. I can't get my hands wrapped around it. And he goes, "I have this for you." And he hands it to me. And I open the box, and there's a giant bird nest in it. And I go, "What is this?" He goes, "Oh, yesterday the crows gave this to me and told me that I needed to give it to you when I saw you."
I don't think you told me that part.
And that's how I met the dude. So then I started hanging out. I started hanging out with the dude for years, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't see him for like years. And my wife goes, and I used to go to the Starbucks this is in Santa Barbara, California. This is like 300 miles south of where I live in Santa Cruz, right? So this is just about like a year or two, or this is probably 2022, let's say. And there was a Starbucks I used to always go to, but during COVID, I just stopped going to it. I stopped interacting with the fucking Matrix people. And it was one early morning, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm gonna swing by that Starbucks and get a coffee." And as I walked, I pull over. I hadn't been there in a couple years. I pull over. I jump out of the car. And the Starbucks it's really early in the morning. It's like 6:30. No one's there. And there's a guy sitting on the patio of the Starbucks all by himself. And as I walk by him, I look at him and I said, "Raymond, what are you doing here?" And he goes, "I'm waiting for you." I said, "Okay." So I just went inside and got a fucking cup of coffee and came back and hung out with him. And of course, every time I see him, like, I make sure someone else can see him too. So I bring him home. I'm like, make sure my wife and my kids see him and shit. You know what I mean? So no one can be. And my wife had just asked about him like a month earlier. I wonder how Raymond's doing.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. And I have like a handful of stories like that.
Was he the one that told you that there's only 12 people here?
Yes. He's the one who told me there's only
that was what I was going to say, is that that's been on my mind lately.
He said there's only the apostles are here. There's no one else.
Yeah.
He said just those are the archetypes. It's just the apostles.
Yeah. That's
He's
interesting.
told me so much wild shit.
Oh,
simple shit. Yeah. Not like just simple shit like that. Not like, not like there's lizard people or that, you know what I mean?
Right.
But just simple shit. Like, hey, if you want this, hum this and you get this. Or if you want this, hold your, sit like this, or, just.
And what are your thoughts on him? Do you think he's just insightful human?
I have no idea, but he hasn't fucking aged since I met him when I was 25, and now I'm 55, and he looks exactly the same. Like exactly the same. It's so crazy when he's at my house, because then people will come over, like my parents and shit, and like other people, like no one knows how to interact with him except for me and my wife. They have no fucking idea how to.
See, it's funny. My brain's doing a lot of crazy things because obviously I have my thoughts on you, and it seems like what you were saying about him is my thoughts on you, but then you're telling the story that makes it seem like you would look at him like I look at you. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, I mean, that's what I say every day.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
But I love him to death. You know what I mean? Like he's Like, I leave him alone in the house for 20 minutes and he's in the back. He's gone to his car and he's in the backyard painting with the kids,
That's awesome.
And he always comes with gifts. Always.
Interesting.
Always. He always leaves tons of shit behind. Like it'll be like a box of macaroni and noodles or a little statue of the Buddha or like a Jesus cross. He always has something he leaves always 100% of the time.
Well, I think there's a bunch of fallen angels here. Maybe he's not a fallen one. Maybe he's just visiting.
Yeah, the trip. So going back to the CrossFit athletes, you had sent me the pictures of Jayson Hopper and Dallin Pepper. Do you like, how certain are you that those are them?
I would say for them, I'm less certain just because I haven't put the time and effort in. I started to try to do it this morning. For me, like I would say, Matt, I'm sure Matt Frazier is Tom Hardy and John Belushi. I'm sure that Tia Claire Toomey is Brenda Fricker. I'm pretty darn sure that Justin Medeiros is Brian Bosworth and Cousin Eddie and Sting and a whole bunch of different characters. I'm not 100% sure that Jayson Hopper is Brian Urlacher of the Chicago Bears, but I'm pretty darn sure. But I wouldn't put my stamp of approval on it yet, but I think I have some pretty good visuals, at least for people. And Dallin Pepper, I'm kind of on the same level. Jayson was interesting because I couldn't find any pictures of his parents, and like they don't exist. Like I can find like an example. I think Brooke Wells is Jennifer Aniston, and Brooke Wells' mother looks identical to Jennifer Aniston's mother, because like I said, the mothers and the wives seem to travel to these different characters, and there's no sight of I can find Brian Urlacher's mother, but I can't find Jayson Hopper's parents.
I'm going to see if I can.
They knew I was coming.
I know that there's some sort of story. So if you go up, down, who's the guy below Dallin?
That is Aiden Hutchinson of the Lions.
Aiden Hutchinson.
And he's a current. See that, like, I don't know how they do it. How can you be a CrossFit athlete and an NFL player at the same time, other than the majority of the CrossFit season is over by the end of the summer, right when NFL training camp starts. But I've done videos on, I don't think you all travel. And I say you all by normal means. And then what's kind of funny is that Brian Urlacher of the Bears, I lived in the town that the Bears had their daily practices in, Lake Forest, Illinois. I'm from the town that they had, that Hallis Hall is in. And I coached football at Lake Forest High School for a while. And Brian Urlacher had a summer camp every summer, like a kid's summer camp. And I coached it a couple of times. So, I got to know Brian a little bit, which is funny because is
that who Jayson? Is that who's below Jayson? Brian Urlacher?
Yeah, Brian Urlacher, yeah. And what's funny is I showed this to Jayson and we chatted back and forth in Instagram for like a half hour, back and forth. He was asking questions, different things. And then I said something to the nature of, do you really think if I was just some crazy conspiracy person and there was no truth at all, that you would go back and forth? You would just be like, block, I don't want to talk to this crazy person, but they all give me time. They all talk to me. They all are curious, because I kind of feel like I'm a little bit of an anomaly in this space.
Not a little bit.
Well, yeah. Well, I asked Justin, I said, Justin, have you ever seen anyone like me? He's like, no, I've never seen anyone like you. And he also told me he was alive hundreds of thousands of years. So he could be pulling my leg there, or that could be really accurate. And maybe I'm a bigger anomaly.
Justin told you that he's been alive for hundreds of thousands of years?
Yeah. I think I said something like his birthday came up or something. And like if he was 25, I said, you mean 2,500? And he then maybe responded like, no, 2,500 or 250,000, something of that nature.
Wow.
So, do you want me to pull up some of the other work I did of these guys?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Someone said, Sevon, someone said, Herpes, this is your day, because Sevon won't question this guy. No, we can ask him anything.
I am an open book, and I will answer anything and everything to the best of my ability.
I'll tell you something. I got this when maybe it's, I'm open to it being delusional, but when I had my awakening, I could see people also, but not like the way you see them.
Yeah.
But I could tell people things and I didn't know where the fuck it was coming from about them. Like I could see them, and it hasn't gone away, but I try to ignore it. I don't want to see it. I want to treat them. I
just saw the worst movie ever. I watched Disclosure Day the other day, and it was terrible. The new Steven Spielberg one, but in that movie, that happens to one of the characters that they can exactly what you're saying. So it's kind of interesting.
Like I don't want to interfere with their path. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're on their path, and I want to be like, hey, I see. And then after about like a year of that, and I made some really good friends that way. But then after a while, I realized, hey, I need to just chill and let people just do their own.
Can you do that with me, or is it like an in-person thing?
No, I could do that with anyone.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, don't let me go astray. All right. I'm sure I'll figure out how to share my screen here, but I'll pull it up.
What are you talking about? You look too good to be natty. Oh, I think he's referencing Jayson.
No. He's not natty.
I'm actually saying, do you know who Sam Brighton is?
The name sounds familiar, but I have no face with it.
Well, let me just show you this real quick before you pull it. Do you know who Taylor Self is?
Yeah, Taylor had some very unkind things to say about me, and I killed him with kindness, and now I think we're cool.
Oh, yeah, he likes you. I told him, I was like, hey, this dude thinks you're a dick to him. And he goes, oh, I don't want to be a dick to him. He was just telling me the other day.
No, we made up. We made up.
This is Sam Brighton. And Sam Brighton got in trouble. He was in charge. He was in the Biden administration, and he was in charge of nuclear. He was the senior person in charge of nuclear waste. And he got in trouble for stealing people's luggage at airports and dressing in women's clothes and all this crazy shit.
He looks like a cross between Taylor and
I'm like,
and Matt Damon.
Yeah. Wow. Do you have any wiggle room? Tyler, for just the fact that there's so many people here and that we might look alike? Like, do you give wiggle room for that?
Yeah, because like my whole life, I was the guy, like even telling students and my athletes, like, hey, you look like this person. But like, I never thought that. Even now that I believe what I do and I know what I know, there's just something I can just see. I've been given a gift that I just see, because there's a distinct difference in my mind and in my eyes and in my brain when someone looks like someone, and I'm like, it's almost like the window, the eyes are the windows to the soul. It's like I can see them, like they can't hide from me, whatever reason. I actually had someone in my Facebook subscriber group the other day. They said they were praying the other day, and they were praying about me, and they said they heard an audible voice, and they were like, I don't know if it was God or what, but they were just kind of like wondering about my authenticity. And they said they heard an audible voice say that Tyler has been given gifts to see faces, and he thought it was God speaking to him. And he said he could hear it clear as day that I gave Tyler a gift to see faces. It was interesting. And it wasn't a guy that I thought was blowing smoke up my ass.
How long, when you had this moment in your backyard, did you feel like you were going crazy for a minute? Or how long before did you ever feel like you were going crazy?
No. Well, I wouldn't say crazy. I was discombobulated is the best way I could, I didn't know up from down, left from right, but I always felt very confident that what I was exploring and what I was seeing and what I was doing was reality and true. I didn't, my mom thought I was going crazy. My wife did. My brothers did. They wanted me to get a brain scan and make sure I didn't have a tumor. I'm like, guys, I'm as with it and clear as day. I'm just seeing beyond the veil, or, I don't believe the lies anymore. And it just opens things up so much. But no, I never thought I was going crazy.
Okay.
I was paranoid for a week or so, but that was about it.
Yeah, your lack of paranoia is a pretty I guess that's why I have trouble throwing you in the crazy camp, because I would think you would be paranoid as fuck.
I have a funny story about it. I don't remember if I told it last time though, but I'll make it quick. I'll condense it. But I don't know if it was at the end of the school year before I hit summer break, and I was uncovering these things that I thought no one had ever uncovered before, and I was posting about them, and I just was like, man, like this is going to get me in trouble, or someone's going to come for me. At this time, I'm like knowing about the Freemasons, and Freemasons are the police, and Freemasons are everyone. So I'm like, I'm not walking around paranoid, but I have the ability to still get paranoid at this point. And I'm on my lunch break at home, and I get in my car to go back to school. And as soon as I pull out of my driveway, there's a cop that kind of pulls behind me, and he follows me down my road. And I live probably 4 miles from school. And I take a left, and he follows me. And then I go down about another mile and take a right, and he turns behind me. And then I'm on the road that's going to my school, and he's right behind me. And then I turn into my school, and he follows me. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Then I pull into my school parking lot. He follows me. And I'm like, what? Like freaking out a little bit, because like he was from my house all the way to my school. I pull into a parking spot. He pulls right behind me. And I'm like, is this dude going to arrest me? And I'm like, I might run, because like I'm literally not trusting the government and the cops and all this. So I get out of my car, start walking really fast to school. He doesn't leave the car. I'm like, okay. And I go into like the entryway to go up into the upstairs weight room.
You didn't talk to him when he blocked your car, and you didn't walk over and be like, hey dude, what's up?
No, he didn't block me. He parks behind me.
Okay.
Like the parking space behind me.
Okay.
And I was just paranoid. I was like, what's going on? So I walk quickly to school. I go into school, and I go up to the weight room that I have the keys for. And there's these windows that overlook the parking lot, and I'm looking, and he hasn't gotten out of the car yet. And then I see another cop car pull in, and another cop car pull in, and another cop car. And they go to park
you're going to jail. You're going to jail.
They park right next to this guy, and like right next to my car. I'm like, what the F is going on? So I'm like, I'm not kidding. Like, I think I might evade right now. So they all congregate right by my car, and they start walking to the school, and they're not going to the entrance you would normally go in. They're going to the one I just went in. And I'm like, I am out of here. I'm going down the stairs, out the front door, and I'm going to somehow get to my car or run in the woods. And as I'm walking out, like trying to get out of the school, like I'm gone. I'm ditching the classes I'm going to teach. I passed this PE teacher buddy of mine. I'm like, hey, dude, do you know any reason why cops would be here? He's like, oh yeah, they're having a charity kickball game with the special needs kids.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So I was like, that was the last time. That was 2.5 years ago, and I haven't been paranoid since. And like that could happen again. No fear in my life. So I just always think that's kind of a funny story. Like if you knew how paranoid I was, it's quite comical.
I had a motorcycle cop pull behind me on a couple days ago, and I thought for sure I was getting pulled over for no reason. Like I just saw a cop. Anytime a cop's behind me, I'm like, I'm getting pulled over. My wife is getting so mad. She said, I thought we were going to just enjoy the farmer's market. CrossFit. I said, it's not CrossFit. It's flat earth stuff. Wife rolled her eyes at me in disgust. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. Please. Yes. I think you have to click, if you pull it up,
present probably?
That plus, I think it's a plus button.
Yeah.
And then
yeah,
it'll be like share screen. Okay. And then I can click on it, and it'll bring it up, and then you can control it.
Oh shoot. I may have not saved it in the right way. Let me downloads.
You could, if it gets weird, you can always text it to me, and I can try to bring it up. I'm not great at it, but I have some basic.
I just thought it would be like a share screen type thing, but it. Share screen. There we go. I got it.
So you see, Jayson thought it was found it amusing, or clearly wasn't offended by it, but other people do get offended, and that's the part I kind of trip on. That's the part I kind of trip on too. Like, why is someone getting offended?
I think Josh has really been the only one that I've noticed that's been offended.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yes. Oh, this is good. Wow.
All right.
Wow. I never noticed how pointy Jayson's ears are. Yeah, that's incredible.
Even the same curvature in the upper lips, and then watch this.
And he played football in college.
Yep. Other
Oh
than
my
that,
God.
they have the not in this one, but they've got the same, the exact same hairline too. You can kind of see it up here.
Yeah. What's that guy's name? Brian Urlacher?
Ryan Urlacher. He's a Hall of Famer.
Is he still playing? No, not if he's
No, he retired. I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years ago. He went to the Super Bowl with the Bears.
And you don't have to, in your mind, you don't have any explanations of how they live outside the rules. Like they don't age. Traveling in time and space isn't like a thing for them.
It's been an evolution. When I first started doing this, I thought I did it for 2 years where I just was exposing fake celebrity deaths. And it was very chronological as far as like, what's an example of, like, let's say Jimi Hendrix died. And then I, proved that he was Morgan Freeman, but that seemed like chronologically he was Jimi Hendrix. And then Morgan Freeman seemed like he'd be around the same age. And I just thought they were humans that were faking deaths for whatever reason, trauma-based mind control, or sick of playing a role, sick of being a musician. He wants to be an actor. So I did that for a year and a half, 2 years. And it was always just the age of it seemed normal. And then I started coming across ones where it was like, oh no, I think the first one that really cracked it open for me was I was watching the show Breaking Bad, and Walter White, who is Bryan Cranston, makes a comment. He's handing out money to cleaning ladies, and he makes a comment, Presidente Grant, very important man. And I just didn't, I was literally watching the show to see the truth in plain sight. So I decided to look up Ulysses S. Grant and immediately see he looks identical to Bryan Cranston. They have the exact same facial moles, like a double mole, the symmetry fit, like everything about it fits on top of them telling us in the movie. So that and Tom Brady being I Dream of Jeannie's Larry Hagman kind of broke the mold of, okay, maybe
Tom Brady does look like a shapeshifter. Tom Brady.
Well, yeah, compared to
I don't know
Larry
what's happening to him, but he doesn't even look human. I don't know. I heard someone say the other day that he's going trans, that he's going to be the next Caitlyn Jenner. Tom Brady is trippy looking.
Yeah, he is. So that just kind of broke everything wide open, that, okay, they're not humans faking their death. There's something else. And, what made sense to me was just, all the whole biblical stories of fallen angels being banished to earth. And we're living in a time where maybe they're, deceiving humanity. Maybe it's to test us. Maybe it's just because they're a bunch of prideful babies and want to be worshipped. I don't have all the answers. I have my theories and my thoughts, but age doesn't matter. They can,
how do they get here? How do they get here? Are they born?
I think they're angelic beings that were able to come down here from heaven. And, like I said, the watchers were supposed to be watching over humanity. And I think maybe, I think there's, from my standpoint, there's two factions of angels, potentially. There's the third of angels, which is why they always do the OK symbol that can double as 3. So a third would be 0.33. And I think there's a third that were cast down from heaven for wanting to be worshipped. And then there's 200 watchers that took human wives. And I think they were kind of stuck down here for doing that.
Are those are those like that are referred to as titans? Like and then their offspring are like half human, half angels?
Yeah, the Nephilim were the offspring that were hybrids of humans and angels, and they were supposedly the giants. And they're pretty much what a lot of the mountains are. You can see a lot of their titan faces. I think the titans were more their kids than the fallen angels themselves.
Why bother matching faces if they're shapeshifters?
For whatever reason, they keep a likeness enough where I can see it, and a likeness enough where a lot of people can see it. Now I think they can change their look a lot more than I realized. Like I just did I was watching, I had Seinfeld on yesterday when I was, I'll put TV on in the background just when I'm doing research. And I had Seinfeld on, and I caught a clip where Kramer's talking about being a hero on the bus, like wrestling off, you know, a guy with a gun, and Jerry and George say, "You're Batman." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm Batman." And, you know, just like Walter White, Bryan Cranston said, Ulysses S. Grant, very important man. I thought to myself, he's Batman. So I first looked up all the Batman people that have played Batman, and my first inclination was maybe Michael Keaton, because, you know, Michael Keaton played Beetlejuice. He's kind of eccentric.
Yeah.
And I just didn't see it. And then as soon as I remember George Clooney played Batman, I was like, I could see it. You know, my eyes just saw it immediately. So to the general audience, that sounds insane, but Michael Richards is most definitely George Clooney. And I haven't done a video. I was working on it. It'll probably be my video tomorrow, but for whatever reason, they have a likeness, but they can, you know, like I don't think I would have seen that one until I got the Truth in Plain Sight. And then once I was like clued into it, it was like my antenna just went, it was like, that's him.
What about, there were people in the comments when you pulled up Jason Hopper and Urlacher saying they look nothing alike. Does that affect your opinion at all?
No, because a lot, you know, some people don't see it. They do, you know, I mean, I saw it enough where I literally was like, I just thought about his face, and Brian Urlacher popped in my mind, but they do definitely have different noses. I always see it in the lips and the eyes. That's where, those are the two tells for me. I've picked out Christian Bale like 5 times because of his lips, and I always see it in the eyes too.
What's one that you thought you were certain of and that ended up being wrong?
I don't think there's been any that I have felt certain about. However, there have been a few that I have forced. Like I forced the Chester Bennington as the singer of Linkin Park, and I forced him thinking that he was the director of the show The Chosen, because I think Chris Cornell, who was really close with Chester Bennington, Chris Cornell, I think, is Jonathan Rumi of The Chosen. So I thought maybe, you know, they buddied up and they're in the same show. So I forced that one. I did a video. And then once I got Tom Holland, who is Spider-Man, on the scene, like in my mind, I was like, oh no, Tom Holland is definitely Chester Bennington. I kind of did like a retraction video. But that was also still at the time where I thought they only played like 1 or 2 characters. And now I'm, you know, some of them play a dozen different characters, I think.
How about James Wood and Biden? Is it James Wood? There was a guy.
James Woods.
An actor for a while that even kind of popped in the mainstream. That Biden had a double, and there was some famous actor.
I think a few people played Biden. I did a ton of videos thinking Jim Carrey did. I mean, it was definitely Jim Carrey that fell up the stairs going into Air Force One. I bet my pinky on it. The manner, you know, and that's another thing that I just see, you know, like I see the faces, but I'm also really kind of cued into mannerisms. I think part of that is just being a movement coach for 20 years. And I can just see how people move too. And, you know, hand mannerism, facial tics. It's just, it all computes I've been given some sort of brain to compute it for whatever reason. Still trying to figure that out fully. I think I'm living the reason I'm supposed to be doing it, but still not all clear.
Chris and Chester got whacked for exposing pedos.
Yeah, that's what people, you know, like I keep trying to tell people that like there's the mainstream narrative, and then they'll create a false narrative. So people digging will get stuck at that false narrative too. And that's definitely one of them. None of them, you know, any celebrity that people think has died has not died. You know, they want you to believe that Chester and Chris got whacked, but they're just alive playing different roles. And if you don't believe me, go look up my Tom Holland video being Chester Bennington. I think that's a really hard one to deny if you are open-minded at all.
How long ago did you put that up?
Probably within the past 5 or 6 months.
I wonder if you go into Google and you put in Fittest Flat Earth or Tom Holland, if it searches those.
Yeah.
Holy shit. You have 700,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah. That's being that for a year or two, I wasn't allowed. They didn't allow me to get one extra follower.
Holy shit. That's crazy.
Yeah, I have like 1.6 on Facebook.
1.6 million?
Yeah. Meta used to be the most censored. They're the best platform right now. They're just allowing truth left and right.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay, do you field some questions? What about Kobe?
Kobe's Myles Garrett and used to be Wilt Chamberlain. I've done many videos on Kobe. Is probably one of the ones I've done the most videos on. Notice how, and I can just talk about it real quick, but for people that don't know, if they're not conspiracy minded, Kobe Bryant, there was a Kobe Bryant helicopter given out at his last home game. He died supposedly in a helicopter. There was a cartoon made of him dying in a helicopter.
What do you mean it was given out?
So like the door giveaway at games.
Oh,
they gave out a remote control Kobe Bryant helicopter.
Oh shit. Is that true?
Yeah, 1,000%. You can look it up. It was at his last home game. And then there was a cartoon made of him dying in a helicopter before he died. Kobe Bryant, they had a Kobe Bryant statue erected of him on February 8th.
Oh, shit. NBA Kobe Bryant helicopter.
Yep, at his last home game. It's because they're telling us, just like they did in Breaking Bad, just like in Seinfeld, telling us Kramer is Batman. And I don't know, like I go back and forth on telling us is like spiritual thing, or if it's a mocking thing, or if it's, hey, there are some, good ones here. We're trapped down here with you, but we're gonna kind of clue you into what's going on. I don't know. I go back and forth on it a little bit.
What about Dave Castro? Is he anybody, or is he's just a regular dude?
I think Dave Castro is Fidel Castro. And Justin Trudeau. More so we can talk more so Justin Trudeau.
I reluctantly shared that with Dave because I would not want to be Justin Trudeau. I would not.
I have stuff. I pulled stuff up of him too, if we want to look, or just pull up.
Yeah, let's look at Dave. I so don't want to be Justin Trudeau. My goodness. I guess he has got Katy Perry now, but
let me see.
I don't know. That's tough. Kobe Bryant helicopter. I'm going to type given away at last game. Wow. At Kobe Bryant's final NBA game on April 13, 2016, the Los Angeles Lakers gifted exclusive souvenir bags to fans sitting courtside seats. These gift bags included a 3.5 channel infrared remote helicopter toy known as the Kobe Bryant Robo Jam. Is that the one with the propellers on his head?
Yep.
Oh my God. I wonder how much that thing goes for on eBay. Wow. Oh my God.
Well, actually, I know it's $200 because someone sent it to me that I should get it for a prop for my videos.
This is someone sent. How do people send you stuff? Do you have a PO box? People keep wanting to send me stuff.
No, I don't. I need a PO box. Someone just sent me a DM and sent me the link with it. Is all I meant. I don't know why I'm struggling to find. I know I was almost sure I sent.
God, that's so weird, dude. That is weird. That's the first weird thing that you said to me.
What, the Kobe stuff?
Yeah, that's weird.
Oh man, maybe I forgot to
helicopter Kobe at his last game.
Yeah, I mean, like the coincidences of that are the same as me thinking someone looks alike, their wives looking alike, them having the same facial scars. There's
okay, herpes. How do you explain that one?
What, the Kobe?
Yeah. Strap in, Seppi, it gets weirder.
Can I text you the Dave stuff? I can't pull it up.
Yeah, please. Could Hopper be one like you said, but be unaware of it, almost like he's a sleeper cell and has to be activated? Could he? Yeah.
Well, it's so funny you say that because that's been. I almost feel like there's a playbook when I share this with some people. That's like a response I get quite frequently. Hopper said it. Your boy Hiller said it, who I just sent. Did I send you who I think Hiller is?
No, who's Hiller?
Stephen Baldwin.
Oh, yes, you did. Yeah.
Okay. Hiller said that. He's like, well, if I was Stephen Baldwin, would I know? Like, that's not, if someone said I was that UFC guy, I wouldn't be like, well, would I know? It'd be like, no, you're an idiot. Like, so to me, it's like, for people to say this stuff, like, it's almost like part of a playbook of what,
I thought that. Well, you know what I think they're trying to do, because I thought that too, and I hope I'm not an idiot, but I thought that too, and I was just like trying to it's trying to find a way to give some validity to what you're saying when you don't understand it. Like, hey, I don't understand it, so like.
That's what my wife said. My wife said the same thing. Like, maybe they're just trying to not be rude to you, so they're, given some sort of, that's the response to not be rude.
We're trying to figure out how it works, like, because the way we think, it's just unfathomable. But you're okay not knowing things, certain aspects of your theory, which other people are like, hey, that doesn't make sense because I travel from point A to point B, and like none of this makes sense.
Yeah, like I don't. So here's an example that I have no idea how it's done, but it doesn't. Just because I don't know how something's done doesn't take away truth from something else. For example, Kobe, and I'm darn sure that Myles Garrett and Kobe Bryant are the same shapeshifter. I'm sure of it. I would bet my house on it. However, Kobe Bryant was still playing basketball at the time Myles Garrett was playing football. So I don't know how that's done. I really think maybe I think there's some traveling capabilities that I am not aware of, traveling the stars, portals. I don't know, but that doesn't, when I make these connections and line these things up, that the odds are astronomical of them being anything but what they are. Just because I don't know exactly how it's done doesn't mean it's not being done. All right.
Right.
I texted you. Maybe I'll just text you things if that's easier, because my sharing is not going so well.
What is the program you use
for side by sides?
Yeah, that slider thing.
It's just called Layout. It's I'm like so low budget. I do everything on my phone. Everything. It's a Layout is the app. The one that the ones I've done the past few days that have blown my mind most were James Hobart.
Hobart?
Yeah, Hobart being freaking Brock Purdy of the 49ers, which he messaged me yesterday. He said, I heard you're going on Sevi's podcast. And he said, thank you for the kind message. And my message was basically about him being Brock Purdy and how Hobart and Brock Purdy are like giving me faith that there are some good shapeshifters.
Well, if there was a good one, it would be Hobart.
Yeah, I don't know him other than what I've seen on internet and TV, but I mean, Brock Purdy and James Hobart seems to be pretty stand-up individuals.
I'd like to see Hobart on drugs and let loose a little bit, but
so what's funny is, I'll always have these synchronicities when I think something's going on. Something will happen that just kind of confirms it. And I saw James. I went to look something up on Rich, and I saw James, and I just saw James, and I was like, that's freaking Brock Purdy. So I went to James's Instagram, and I kid you not, the first scroll on his Instagram, there was a video of a lady saying, well, why does so-and-so look old and you look like Brock Purdy? I was like, there's my confirmation.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Who said that? So you had the Brock Purdy thought before you saw that?
Yeah.
That's
right before. It was right before, and then I saw that.
Who are these two people? Who are these two people?
Well, that's Trudeau's former wife, because now he's with Katy Perry, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Oh, that's not Dave's wife though.
Right. I didn't think it was, because I couldn't find a picture of Dave's wife, but there was a picture she's with Dave.
Top secret. He keeps her top secret.
Yeah, and she's also, I think she lives in Madison, which kind of computed to me of why the games were moved to Madison. And then she also does she runs some CrossFit. I don't know if it's like CrossFit pregnancy, CrossFit. There's some like baby's mama thing she does. And so the reason I show this is because there's a conspiracy that some people think that Trudeau is Fidel Castro's son. I actually just think they're the same being. And when you look at, it's just funny that I think Dave is Trudeau. Dave's name is Castro, and Trudeau is also known to be Fidel Castro. So there's just kind of an interesting link there, if you follow.
Yeah, I've definitely thought that Trudeau and Castro were related.
And now what about did I send the picture of Dave and Trudeau?
If you did, it didn't come through.
Oh no. I think it did. I got it. It's on my end. It's there on your phone.
Okay. Let me see. I don't see it in my photo library. It says only.
Oh, it's a video. It's a video. That's why.
Oh, I see it. Oh, yeah. I see it. Okay.
Oh, but it's just the guys, then the girls. I can send you just a picture if that's easier.
Either way, I'll pull this up. Let me see. I think I can pull this up. Show and Finder.
Well, while you're pulling up, so Hobart threw me for a loop. I just thought that was actually kind of cool. And then I was literally about to just put a cap on being done with my video and the work. And then I decided to look up Haley Adams, and I just stared at her face for like 2 minutes, and it just hit me. And then I had a memory of, I have a photographic memory. So then I had a memory of her doing a TikTok dance with Tia on one of the documentaries to a Taylor Swift song. And then I looked up how she posts Taylor Swift stuff on Instagram all the time. And then I remembered how she took a year off of CrossFit for mental health. And I said to myself, if I'm right, Taylor Swift is going to have been on tour the exact same year that Haley Adams took her year off. And would you imagine that? They both were in 2023. And they both also have the exact same facial markings and scars. And that one blew my mind a little bit.
Yeah, that one blows my mind too. Bros like people who look alike automatically, or shapeshifter. Or Will Plummer, is it bros that think shapeshifters are automatically people who look alike? Like, what if you just switch those around?
Yeah, I mean,
you think shapeshifters look alike, and he thinks people who look alike are shapeshifters.
Well, I don't think. I think people on TV that look alike are shapeshifters. That, to be clear, and I think anyone who probably isn't even red-pilled or awake have seen how celebrities of today look like other celebrities in the past. I think that's like almost a known thing now, and I think all I'm doing is proving what's going on. They're not being cloned in a factory. They're not, they're not soul transferring. They're the same being who can live longer than normal humans, and they have the ability to shapeshift. And people always say, well, if they can look so different and be shorter or taller and older than younger, then why can't they get rid of these marks you're finding? And I did a video once showing there's something called a mimic octopus. It's a shape-shifting octopus. It can literally be a white octopus. It can land on a red rock and look exactly like a red rock. It can look like 10 different fish. It can look like a snake, but it can't.
Those are crazy. I've seen videos on those. Yeah. Those are absolutely wild.
Right. It can look like 15 different things, but it can't shape-shift its scars away, because scars are damaged tissue. And as much as I think there's a spiritual component here, I think that shapeshifters are trapped in their flesh, and maybe that's part of their punishment in being here. And there's so many nods to people in Hollywood and movies of having wings and having fallen to earth. And I think they're shapeshifters, and they're trapped in flesh. They're not spiritual beings. Well, they are, because we all are, but they're trapped in flesh. Their flesh can just, like the T-1000 in Terminator, manipulate.
Oh yeah, that was a great movie, T2. Hey, yeah. What isn't there something in the Bible where someone changes their face? What is that? Someone in the comments will know. Not trans.
Yeah, I'm forgetting. Yeah, transfiguration, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something. I want to say that there's something in the Bible about that. Will Plummer says, hey, dude, there's 8 billion people here. Yeah, of course they want you to think that, Will. I tried that one, Will. You're late to the show. I tried that one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't believe there are 8 billion people either.
I don't
Do you
know.
think that? Do you think there are 8 billion people on Earth?
I have,
In Earth?
yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if the word is. I don't know if I think it. I'm trying to think of the exact precision. When I see that stat, I don't question it. But I've traveled the world like extensively,
Yeah.
and I've seen places like like you'll hear about a city like San Francisco has 500,000 people who live there, and then 1 million people during the day because of commuters. And I've been to India, and I've been in slums that have 4 million people, and been like, oh shit, what
Yeah.
this is fucking bonker. You know what I mean? And I've seen piles. I went to this one slum in India, and their primary purpose was to recycle shit. And I saw piles of like pen, like they would like all the pens would come there, right? And so I saw a pile of just the pen lids that were taller than a fucking 4-story building. Then over here was like just the tips of the pen that was the size of a 2-story building. And then over here was just cans that was the size of a 6-story building. You know what I mean? Like I've seen a line of 500 Indian women working at a construction site carrying concrete on their head like a conveyor belt and the perfect, you know what I mean? Like I've seen some crazy shit that I'm like, wow. Like I know that there's a fucking shit ton of people here. I've been to China.
Yeah. I mean, for sure there are. I just
I
think
don't know
they
if
push.
I don't know if it's 8 billion, but like
Yeah.
I know some places there's a lot of people.
I just looked up the population of the United States from maybe 2023, and it was 333 million. I was like, oh, that's an interesting number for them to put. I mean, my people listening understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they puff up the numbers just so they can also push their scarcity, and the earth is running out of resources. We don't have enough water. There's not enough oil. I just think if they cram a lot more people that are here, it can make you actually believe that we're running out of resources, which is just total nonsense. There's plenty of space, plenty of food, plenty of water. We just, obviously production could be slowed down and things like that. But
let me ask you this, going back to the pizza, what's on the outside of the pizza?
it's a great question. I don't know. I do think at one point, like I think there has to be more physical land. And the only reason I think that is because I have personally found some petrified beings in the maps that are hundreds of miles long. There's a dragon that stretches across the 4 corner states of the United States that's like 170 miles long. And I just don't think something that used to be that big would have lived in our firmament enclosed land. It just doesn't seem feasible to me. So I don't know. I could speculate. That's one of those things I have to try to believe. I can't prove. So I'm okay not knowing what's outside. I used to think it was just us in the firmament and then, the spiritual realm, but I don't know. We could be in a little ant hill, for all I know, and there could be other ant hills, or it's just us. I don't know.
What's the center of what's the center of the pizza as we know it? Like, is it New York City or is it Antarctica, or what's the center of the pizza?
I mean what they would say is the North Pole on the globe.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's where the not meaning to do any hand symbolism here, but that's where so there's literally the direct or the distant early warning line is a circle around the North Pole.
Yeah.
And they said it was to detect Russians coming across, but I think it's literally to detect people going to the center.
And why wouldn't they? And they don't want people going to the center?
Yeah, I think there's some anomalies there that would maybe wake people up to not living on a globe. Some people have speculated that's where Jesus is hanging out for this little short season that we're living in, where all the fallen angels are released to deceive humanity. It's biblical. It's Revelation 20 verse 7, I think, talks about Satan being released to deceive all the nations.
Have you done research on anyone who's been to the North Pole? Have you like Robert Perry, Matthew Henson, and the 4 Inuit guides are widely credited as the first to reach the geographic North Pole on April 6, 1909?
No, I haven't. I think Admiral Byrd, there's record of him going there, but I just, I also don't know if I believe some of that stuff that that you research. And
Listen to this. This is crazy. The first undisputed surface over land was in 1968. Ralph Plaisted and his team successfully completed the first verified overland trek to the pole using snowmobiles. Wow, that's not even that long ago.
yeah, that's wild. But again, I don't, what they find, what they see, what they document, is there footage, is there evidence?
Right.
Because
Right.
I think there's some interesting things in the North, more so than the South even.
Hey, this most recent trip around the moon, you think that's staged?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I've never. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I did one video on it kind of reluctantly because it was happening. It was news. I felt compelled to, even though I didn't want to. And I let off with, hey, if you still think that, and I did, it was a video of the rocket going up and like basically doing this. It was home footage of someone capturing it. And I was like, at this point, if you believe that this is going to the moon, you might actually have a learning disability. And I was like, I don't mean anything like rude or I'm trying to be
I'm offended.
Offensive, but oh, come on. I know you don't believe
I do believe it. I love it. When the guy came back, there was the black guy on there who was cool as shit. And then there was the other guy who came back who had like a biblical experience, the white guy.
Yeah.
He went up not believing it.
I don't want to call you a liar, but I do not believe that you believe that, Savon.
That's fine. What's crazy is that 30 years ago, nobody would have said. I'd never heard anyone say that the moon landing was fake.
Yeah.
And now, and before you couldn't even talk about it, right? Because you'd be crazy. And now it's just like a pop question you'll just hear on shows, like you could totally get away with just ask, you could just be on Jimmy Kimmel or Greg Gutfeld or whatever and be like, hey, so do you believe in the moon landing? And someone will be like, no. And no one thinks you're crazy, nothing. And then all of a sudden this rocket went to the moon and it was everywhere.
Yeah.
You think it really went to the moon? And I'm like, holy shit, just the implications of the questioning that's going on now, not relative to 30 years ago. I'm not talking about whether it actually happened or not, but the implications that so many people are questioning it. What does that mean?
I think there's a great awakening happening. I think it's part of the reason why
a great insanity. Great, you know what I mean? It could be just a great psychosis is fucking waving over the land. Like everyone's just fucking losing touch. It shows you the fact that people's reality is barely being held on by a fucking what's the affectionate term, a cunt hair. You know what I mean? It's like, holy shit, someone's watching something on someone watched something on the internet and for 20 minutes and all of a sudden they're like, we didn't go to the moon.
Well, I think that, and that was part of my video, was that I think you have a learning disability if you still believe this, because I do think there was a lot of censorship with it before, but you can find my videos very easily now. That wasn't the case at the beginning, other than on TikTok. Instagram was censoring me like crazy. I spent 5 months where they literally sent me something. We are not going to allow your account to be seen by any new people for 5 months. That happened to me 2 different times. And now, for whatever reason, it's flipped. TikTok is the most censored platform and Meta's wide awake. But, you can find information where you couldn't before. Flat Earth was censored really heavily, and I don't think it is anymore. And I think what you're talking about with the moon, people questioning the moon and it being normal conversation, I do think that's starting to happen a little bit with the Earth as well. The shape of the Earth.
Sevon is still a globetard. Go easy on him. Don't go easy on him. Shame him. There's the condescending flat Earth attitude. No, that wasn't condescending. No, that wasn't condescending. I don't think. Ask him if Michael Jackson became Trump.
No, Elvis.
Elvis became Trump.
Yeah.
Any insights on Michael Jackson?
I think he's currently entertaining people as Bruno Mars.
Oh shit! I mean,
You should.
I
You should pull up my video on that. Can we pull up my video on it?
Sure. I haven't thought that they're the same person, but clearly I've just thought Bruno Mars is heavily influenced by him. Oh God, you did Jesse Waters. That broke my heart. I don't know why. How far? I wonder if I just type in Bruno Mars flat.
Well, I'm looking to see if I can just send it to you.
Bruno
But
Mars,
yeah, maybe if Bruno Mars, Michael Jackson, it might come up on Instagram.
I typed in Bruno Mars fittest flat earther. I think I got it. Does it have Jim Carrey in the video? Oh, it's on TikTok. Oh, it was on TikTok. Is the video currently unavailable?
Here, I got it. I'm texting it to you. It was on.
I think I got it. Hey, if for some reason I was a
shapeshifter,
what's the explanation for having you on the show and exploring it?
Well, I was kind of getting at it a few minutes ago. I do think maybe there's a little bit of a shift coming. And I think maybe, people always ask me why I'm allowed to stay up. And I have been allowed to stay up until TikTok recently. And, I mean no offense to you, but part of my response is always, what?
I won't take any.
Okay. Part of my response is always, well, if they are fallen angels, they're a bunch of prideful babies who love their old roles or getting recognition for their old roles. So maybe they kind of enjoy what I do, but also I think maybe there's a little bit of shift coming and wanting people to wake up. I don't know.
I enjoy what you do too. I'm going to be completely frank with you. The one part that I get concerned about is that I'm not being a codependent to any mental health crisis you would be having. You know what I mean?
Come on, get out of here.
Okay. All right.
Proving that the king of pop.
Go ahead. What?
No. Go ahead. You can play it. Go ahead. Faked his death. Well, that was 2 years ago, and I've been hunting for him ever since. And but for those of you who haven't seen this video, I'm going to catch you up, and then, you'll see. Why don't we start at the end? Have you ever seen this video of the coroner's van that supposedly had Michael Jackson's body in it that didn't know it was being filmed? This guy thought he was going to capture them wheeling him out, and instead, he captured this.
Oh boy.
Now, I was very skeptical when I first saw this, so I had to do what I do, and I did my investigative work. 127602. Remember that number. So what I did is I went and I scoured the internet, and I found actual news footage of a helicopter filming the body of Michael Jackson going into a coroner's van. And you'll never guess what I found.
Holy shit, dude. This is crazy. This is crazy.
I think I missed my calling as a private investigator.
This is crazy.
Let's take a look at that number. Do we remember? 127602.
I like it how you have your clone on the screen at the same time.
Yeah, I do that sometimes. And just in case your memory is not good, helicopter garage 127602. And while knowing he was out there somewhere and always keeping an eye out, very recently I couldn't help but notice how similarly he danced to Bruno Mars.
I mean, you can't even tell they're dancing apart. I mean,
yeah, I synced it up pretty good.
I thought that was Michael Jackson on the right at first.
That's probably just it, right? It's just a similar dance style that they're both doing. I mean, they hardly look alike. I mean, for sure, we didn't just push their heads together. Maybe if we give it the old symmetry test. And other than that eyebrow, it's a pretty dead match. Even those chins seem to be pretty exact. But, I don't really like to speculate. So I find things. I find similarities in people that necessarily shouldn't be there across numerous marks. even smaller ones that you can hardly see that are right there that also match those two. Those are hard to see, but trust me, there are many more. Michael, Bruno. But I really wanted to prove this one. I wanted to leave no doubt. So I took another look and I found what seemed to be two very similar markings. I would say scars right there and there. And there's more. Stick around, especially if you're skeptical. Let's go to that very pronounced little hole there. And boy, it sure seems to be right there as well. You see that? There's a very similar matching hole. But again, there's more. Let me get out of the way and come down here to very pronounced ones. See those two? Well, yeah, you can't just leave those because those are very obvious. So you need to shape shift them away or get some touch up. There's one and there's two in the exact same spot in relation to the eye. So now that makes what? 7? 7 of the exact same markings on top of the exact same dancing and top of the exact same facial symmetry. Sure, it's a coincidence. Oh, and thanks to my good friend Josh Stone here on the ShmooTube, who you should go follow. We figured some other things out too that aren't going to be for everyone, but follow along. Because if Bruno was Michael, do you know who Michael was married to? Elvis's daughter. Elvis's daughter. I couldn't help but notice how much Elvis looked an awful lot like this statue of Mars, the Roman god Mars. And
that's Elvis Presley on the left?
Yeah, bearded. His daughter is married to Bruno Mars, but there's more. Because if Michael can fake his death and come back as someone else, don't you think maybe Elvis can? And if you've seen my videos, I've proven it over and over again. Now, hold on. If Elvis is Abaddon, but also Mars, which we all know is associated with the color red, and we know this guy's affinity for red, but there's more because they always tell us. They always tell us. And they are not who you think they are. They've been here since the dawn of Earth. That's a 3,000-year-old statue. That's multi-millennia-year-old statue, as is that. And that's the original Statue of Liberty face. And I'm just a satire account here for your entertainment purposes. I don't really think there are fallen angels here in Earth with us, deceiving us in every way possible, convincing you to worship them instead of the Most High. No, that's ridiculous stuff. Stuff of legend and fantasy, people.
Hey, this is crazy. This is I just keep thinking about how much work you put into this. Can I ask you this? How would my kids fit into this? Into your explanation?
Well, so I did a video on Hulk Hogan, and I don't know how I was watching it, but I was watching The Liver King. Like, he has a documentary or something I was watching, and he just kept screaming, and I was like, he literally sounds just like Hulk Hogan. I'm like, so I did my thing, and I really think that The Liver King is Hulk Hogan. And then, I did the wives. The wives looked exactly the same, and somehow, some way, I looked at the kids, and Liver King has 2 blonde little boys, and Hulk Hogan has 2 blonde kids, and I matched up the kids. And I mean, Hulk Hogan's kids are Liver King's kids, and I think I don't know if those are, so I'm still trying to figure it out. I don't know if they have been here, if they're part of the fallen angel crew that have always been here. I don't know if they had children after they've been in Earth, but kids are shapeshifters too. Now, I don't know if I don't know if your kids are shapeshifters, but I think the kids can shapeshift.
I want to hate this guy, but I love him. That's not a good sign if David Weed likes you.
What people like, if people actually just knew me and didn't just see my internet persona, like, it's very rare that someone meets me and I'm just like a down to earth, humble person. You know, I just ham it up for my videos, not because I care about clicks and likes and views, but I do care about views, but not because of money. I just want to help people, and I want people to see my videos.
What's the most viewed piece of content you have?
I think my All the Presidents Are Alive video had like 15 million views on Instagram and
Wow.
15 million on TikTok. That might be my favorite video, because that was just a crazy revolution. Like, to be, you know, like, again, I'm just a humble guy. I'm not trying to be arrogant, but to be the human that proved that all our presidents are alive was kind of mind blowing. And then did a video on it that actually I thought would be super sensitive, and super censored, and it just took off. Have you seen that one?
Probably.
It's a very short one.
All the presidents are alive.
It's pinned on your Instagram.
Oh, on your Instagram?
Yeah, it's pinned, I believe. And it's short, because Instagram makes you do under 3 minutes, or they only send it to like the people that already follow you.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. How did you figure that out?
Because every time I go to post, it says, edit your video to under 3 minutes. Otherwise, it will be limited reach.
It's this one in the upper right-hand corner?
Yeah. What if I told you all the presidents, and I mean all of them, were still alive? But I wasn't going to just speculate on it. I was going to prove it. Here's Teddy Roosevelt. Here's Robin Williams. And that's both of their wives. And here's Andrew Jackson and his wife. And, well,
Andrew Jackson looks like
what
Robin
if we
Williams.
paired a younger picture with Miss Jackson with Miss Maxwell? Do you think that they might just fit pretty well down to the lips, the nose, and eye placement? And what if this goes back to our very first president and his wife, Martha? Funny how he looks a little more feminine than her. And a subscriber, Samantha, pointed out the resemblance of Glenn Close and George Washington. Funny, Glenn, especially spelled like Glenn Close, Glenn. It's a funny name for a girl. You want to see something even funnier? Here's Glenn Close's husband. And, well, do you recognize him? How about now?
Oh, boy.
That's Martha Washington. Glenn Close's husband, Martha Washington. And I'm going to stop after this one for a second. Here's the 25th president, William McKinley, and I couldn't help but notice how identical he looked to Dumb and Dumber star Jeff Daniels. But when the first time I ever happened to see this, they started talking about Dumb and Dumber randomly on the TV in the very first second. And you know what's even funnier than that is how he's got a little mark right there. Good old President McKinley. And oh, look at that. So does Jeff Daniels. I did a 10-minute video on this that I'm testing out for the subscribers of mine, because if anything's going to get censored and shut down and give me account bans and strikes and warnings, it's this one. And let me tell you what that whole video is about. It's how they're not human. Here's Alec Baldwin and President Fillmore.
Wow.
And I say they're not human, and they tell us what they are.
Milford Fillmore, the eighth president of the United States, or seventh? Eighth.
I don't recall.
A lot of people don't know Milford.
I didn't until just I saw the book.
What?
I said I didn't until I was scanning all the presidents. I was like, that's freaking Alec Baldwin.
That one's crazy.
Enoch says fallen angels are referred to as stars. Go watch the 10-minute video. I'll release it eventually, but I need to test the waters because it's a doozy, and I think it explains exactly what's going on.
Yeah, Millard. Of course you know, Clock. You ever notice how much you love telling us how much you know? Even more than me.
What's that about?
Who knows? Hey, thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything you want to say before we part ways and I head off to the beach?
No, but I might join you in doing that just on the other coast.
Oh, awesome.
No, you know what? I appreciate you having me on. Part of the reason I reached out to you, like, I haven't gone on a podcast forever. And even though I have my thoughts in you, I still feel like it's a safe place where you're not going to sit there and mock me. And part of the reason I wanted to come on too was I just had 1 million CrossFit athletes going through my head that I wanted to talk about. But I made my video yesterday. It's a 10-minute video. Kind of got it out of me, but so where I didn't feel the need, but I still am really appreciative and grateful you had me on. And I hope you don't mind that I have my podcast. I'm just going to probably use this for my podcast.
Yes. Cool. Plug away, do whatever. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. And I'd be happy to come on again sometime if you want.
Yeah, I'd love that. And I'm really glad. And I get kind of excited that the Instagram clips you make on CrossFit do so well. I always trip on that. I'm like, wow, why are there so many people interested in this?
Yeah, I hesitate to do CrossFit clips because I just think it's such a smaller audience, but somehow they still reach people. And I do want to say this. I've come a long way from the times that I was, exposing. Shouldn't say that word. That I reached out to Josh, and I feel a little bit bad about the way I did it. So if you happen to talk to him or if he happens to watch, I do apologize for my approach. I don't apologize for my thoughts, but I wish I could have been a little kinder and softer there.
Right. Fair enough. Wow. Yeah. That's I feel like more and more people are seeing that in my circle, including myself.
What's that?
Just a softer approach. No, not you in general. I just feel like people in general are taking softer and softer approaches in my sphere, like looking for other words to use. Like you said, you used the word expose. I'm guessing you're talking about the word expose. You wish you would have maybe used a word that was softer, that wasn't maybe so inflammatory. Like you didn't mean to.
Yeah, or just had a conversation with, or tried to, like Sam Dancer and I have become like kind of buddies, but because I just approached him with kindness and respect. And at the time, I thinking what I think about Josh and that he was Pat Tillman and that there were people traumatized based on Pat Tillman's death, I just felt defensive. I felt angry about it. And I used that to approach Josh instead of just speaking to him like a human and a non-human or, what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was good. All right, brother. Tyler Hansen, the Fittest Flat Earther. Check him out on YouTube. The podcast is the Fittest Flat Earther.
Fittest Flat Earther podcast. That's it. Thanks, Savon. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. Have a great one, and I will talk to you soon.
Okay, sounds good.
Ciao. Always stimulating. Use a thesaurus. You should tell him about your experience recently, Sevi. Which one are you talking about? All right. Long show. Can't believe the longest show I've done in a long time. 2 hours and 42 minutes. Holy cow. All right. Thanks, guys. Today is Tuesday, 9:44 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Tomorrow morning, Greg Glassman. Also, 4 p.m. guest tomorrow. I wonder who that will be from Australia. Also, maybe a pop-up show tonight. It's time to go over the leaderboard. Wow, David. Thank you. Absolutely amazing.
Steroids, they're the sledgehammer. Loud, aggressive, smash your system and deal with the fallout later. You don't want mood swings and roid rage. What if there was another way, a smarter way? Biomax peptides, the scalpel, precise, targeted, working with your body, not overriding it. Support for recovery, better sleep, more control over appetite and body composition, hair health. We can even fix your limp biscuit. Biomax peptide.
Not all training programs are the same. If you want coaches who genuinely care